Impact Theory Comics is a new independent publisher, and they're releasing their first comic, Neon Future. The comic is a collaboration with world-famous DJ and producer Steve Aoki, and it's written by the Eisner Award-winning writer of Justice from DC Comics, Jim Kruger. With artwork by Neil Edwards and Jeremy Rapek, the artwork and story are absolutely mind-blowing. If you like science fiction, you're going to love this comic, so head over to your local comic store or Comics Conspiracy, and get Neon Future issue number 1 on your pull list ASAP. And while you're at it, if you have Instagram, you can see some of the artwork for yourself. It's at IT Comics on Instagram. Hello, and welcome to the Comic Conspiracy, episode 392 for the week of March 12th, 2019. My name is Ryan Higgins. Who's here? Turn him off my phone. Who's here with me this week?
Brock Sager.
Kevin Sharp.
Cowboy Bebop is on the TV. That's not bad.
Whoa.
You added some C's to your playlist there.
I'm getting there.
Yeah.
I'm in the F's.
You are?
Yeah.
Well,
Who else is here?
And Charlie.
And Charlie, back normal order. Toby, you must have something to talk about if you're on this podcast. You've been
How's
busy
Toby's
and
mic
working.
level?
He's sounding all right.
I'm turned off, I'm pretty sure, until 90% of the podcast is over.
4, 5,
I'll guarantee you
all
that
good.
one.
All good. All
Sure.
on. All on.
With
So,
a wink in his eye. I saw it.
just
Yeah.
turn it off. Welcome back, Toby. It's been far
you.
too long.
Yeah.
We're here to talk about Captain Marvel.
Yeah,
We may talk about a handful of other things to talk about. It depending on how the conversation goes, we may random number generator. Depending how the rest of the conversation goes, we may need to we may talk about a few other things too.
I like how he has thoughts out loud.
Random number generator. But the bulk of this conversation, this podcast, is going to be about the hit new Marvel cinematic movie released from Disney.
You mean the bomb that was torpedoed by the Comics Gate people?
Yes.
Yeah, okay.
And that is...
Toby has this really weird smile on his face right now. Like, happy, creepy smile.
That's just the way he always looks.
Okay.
Pretty much. Plus, I've had an excellent sandwich in front of me.
So we're going to talk about... eat the sandwich off mic as possible. This isn't the eat box as
I turned it off. I know how this shit still works.
It's the eating conspiracy.
Yeah, so we're going to talk about Captain Marvel. I got a lot to say about it. My wonderful number generator chose Brock to go first.
Okay.
1, 2, 3, 4, 5. So we'll start with Brock over here on his thoughts of Captain Marvel. Before we start, though, I'd say this isn't our traditional episode, but then I feel like we do like 10 of these a year, so it feels, especially coming into the summer,
a tradition.
There's going to be a lot of these. So we're going to stay spoiler free for the first little round. We'll give our quick thoughts. We'll all kind of go around, and then maybe a letter grade or number grade, whatever you want to give it. A thumbs up, thumbs down, out of 5 stars, whatever your preference is.
we need to standardize our rating system.
Doesn't matter. No, it doesn't matter. And then we'll go full spoilers after that. So if you just want to kind of get a quick hit, and if you haven't seen the movie yet, you can listen for the next 10, 20 minutes or so. But then we're going to go full spoilers for the whole rest of the episode. So Brock, why don't you take us?
So
when you start,
so Captain Marvel.
Let us know what you think.
What can I say about the movie?
Webster's Dictionary defines Captain Marvel.
Yeah, exactly. Right. To be honest, I was super excited for this movie ever since the trailer had the Blockbuster video in it. I said it before. I'm like, I don't care. They're going back to the 90s. Fine, cool, awesome. I took my kids to see it. So my daughter and my son. And
now it sounds like Brody maybe maybe reading the wrong website.
Yeah,
does he follow Ethan Van Sciver on Twitter?
Oh, if he did, I'd disown him after I beat him. I went Friday afternoon after my kids got off of school, and before we left their school, I said we're going to go see we're going to go to the movies tonight, and they're like, "Yay!" Like, we're going to go see Captain Marvel. And my daughter's like, woohoo. And my son's like, I don't want to go watch that movie. That's for girls. I didn't want to watch it. I'm like, dude, shut up. We're going. So after he threw his tantrum,
did he realize it was like a Marvel movie?
I told him but he didn't realize, and I had to basically tell him, look, you're going, otherwise we're not going to go to Shazam. I had to throw down the we're not going to Shazam thing. So he finally got out of his tantrum. We went and saw the movie, and it's a really good overall solid movie. It's fun, has great action, just the interactions with the characters, adding to the MCU that's already there. They do very well. It's a nice little origin story for kind of Nick Fury and kind of where all of his ideas started to come from. So overall, I think that it was fun. My daughter loved it. She's already planning on being Captain Marvel for Halloween.
Nice.
And my son, the tantrum-throwing boy, Comicsgate kid that I almost disowned, he really enjoyed it and liked it.
Oh, there you go. Look at that.
Yeah.
I was just giving you shit.
And I'll tell you what he really enjoyed later because keep it spoiler light.
Okay.
But yeah, I would say definitely really good, solid. Just I think when we say we went to the movie, it was fun. I enjoyed it. This one was legit, fun and enjoyable and stuff, and it moved. The pacing was really good throughout. So
now, give me some ranking somewhere. Where does it land on your MCU list? Letter grade, number grade, star grade, whatever you want.
I haven't really. I don't have a place exactly in my MCU. It's probably at the high mid range.
Okay.
It's definitely way better than Iron Man 3 and Thor 3 and all that bottom tier garbage. It's not a bottom tier. Shut up, Kevin. Iron Man 3 is the worst. I don't even need to look at you, and I know what you're the look on your face.
Well, the look on my face is that I like both of the movies you just cited.
Oh God, they're the worst. What universe are you in that you're watching these where they're good?
We're doing we'll do a Patreon where Ryan and I will sit and watch Iron Man 3, and I'll talk about all the good parts.
So you'll be silent the whole
Man
movie?
of Steel with Bryce is apparently never happening, so we'll fill in with a different one.
Kevin, you just saw Captain Marvel.
Yes.
Despite Toby's attempt at spoiling you, you just saw Captain Marvel. See, aren't you glad you're back? Already
Can't turn on the mic because my hands are filthy.
His fingers are covered with sandwich grease.
Yeah, I didn't do it on purpose.
How much of your sandwich did you dump out?
I didn't. He cooked like that much and tried to shove it into the sandwich. Yeah.
Well, you're coming up next, so why don't you wash your hands and...
So, Ryan, the conversation we had last week was when I was debating where to go see this movie.
Yeah.
For those who don't listen in our area, there's an IMAX theater that's the Dome theater where you're watching the movie on the inside of a dome.
But it's the ridiculously huge IMAX.
Yes.
Yeah.
It's true. It's true IMAX.
Which one is this?
At the Tech Museum.
Oh,
Yeah,
the Tech, okay.
It's the most
vomit.
It's the most immersive movie experience I've ever had. I've gone there for I saw Man of Steel there. Or no, Superman Returns, I think it was.
Okay.
One of those. Anyway, Interstellar. I've gone there for I don't want to say special movies, but something that I think is going to be something
worth seeing.
Remarkable.
Yeah.
Maybe it's good, maybe it's not good, but so for this, Captain Marvel's playing there, and I was saying last week in this very store, I don't think I'm going to go because it's a 45-minute drive one way from me, and it's like a $20 ticket.
Yeah.
And I'm expecting this movie will be like a B plus, like 90% of Marvel's movies, and it's a B. I mean, I liked it. It was fun.
Did you see it at the Tech Museum?
No.
Oh, okay.
That was what I was saying. Was I'm not going to make that investment when I'm fairly confident in what the result is going to be.
Yeah.
And I just saw it on a regular theater. It was fun.
Yeah.
This is hard to talk about because there's.
Yeah.
People at the table may disagree, but I can't imagine someone really, really loving this or really hating it.
Yeah.
I'd put it solidly mid-tier MCU.
You mean someone that actually saw it?
Yeah.
Wouldn't hate it.
I can't imagine this being somebody's number one Marvel movie or their bottom.
Yeah.
Well, you don't think it'd be a little girl's
That's a lot of
number one?
movies, though.
Yeah.
You don't think it'd be a little girl's number one?
If this is her intro to Marvel.
Yeah.
But I'm just, if we put it in the context of the other kind of cultural moment superhero movies, which I would say are Wonder Woman and Black Panther, I would call this number 3 of that list.
Yeah.
Maybe even lower.
Well, I only have 3 slots.
Yeah.
Okay. Anyway, I'll save spoiler comments for
Yeah.
after.
Yeah. What's up, Toby?
What's up? How's it going?
Good. You watch Captain Marvel?
Is my mic on?
It is.
Sure?
I'm 100%.
I don't trust my mic.
Is your mic on? Tell me. I can hear you.
Do you like it? Because if you like it, I must hate it. Because I have to do the opposite of you.
Coming around, I'm number 5.
Okay.
So.
Well, no, I actually quite enjoyed it, and I think it's because I didn't expect anything from this movie. It was one of those movies. Look, I apologize to the Captain Marvel fans. I never liked her. I always thought they forced her to be like a legit character in the Marvel universe.
You mean Carol Danvers from day one, or the modern take of Captain Marvel?
I think the modern thing that they've been trying to do for the last 10 to 15 years, where they're trying to position her as like the power woman player, the Wonder Woman.
That's really not even been 10. Well,
I think it's been 10 years.
I mean, they kind of set her up in the early comics as the big powerhouse Marvel character.
With the Frank Cho stuff and before that. And,
it's the modern Captain Marvel.
I think it's been about 10 years.
Yeah, if that.
But it was, to me, it was always kind of like the Inhumans, where they kind of forced it for me to like it in ways. Like they gave her the big push, which like I'm glad to give certain character pushes. It just never worked for me. So I apologize to people that love this character or the history of it. So I was not looking forward to this movie. When the trailer came out, I didn't care much for it. I was kind of whatever, and when all the haters came out, I'm like, excellent. Now I actually do want to see it.
Yeah.
And I quite enjoyed it. It might have something to do with me not expecting anything from this movie at all, but I quite enjoyed it.
Yeah.
So yeah, thumbs up.
Cool. Charlie
liked it. Skip.
Oh,
Sorry. I was channeling Bryce there for a second. Oh.
okay.
Yeah, don't do that.
So this is what I'm going to say at this point. I'm going to go back to the first Thor movie. And don't get me wrong, Thor as like the character in the movies has grown on me since then. But I came out of the first Thor movie kind of going, you know what? Thor as a character, I've always liked on the Avengers. I've liked in a lot of team books, but he's never really appealed to me as a solo character. I came out of the movie kind of going, well, I enjoyed it. It was good. But it also felt as good as a Thor movie's going to be for me. It wasn't necessarily like that character just at the time didn't speak to me strong enough to make me go, this is going to be a movie I'm absolutely going to fall in love with and that kind of stuff. And it wasn't till some repeat viewings that I kind of started to appreciate that movie more and more, just in sort of the rewatchability of it.
Which one, Thor?
Yeah.
The first one.
Yes. I feel the same way about this movie. I don't have a great love for sort of the Carol Danvers character. I've liked her in certain roles that they've used her in. Like I've liked her as supporting characters in various books and that kind of stuff. But every time I've tried to read a solo Carol Danvers series, it's never kept me beyond an issue or two. And I kind of walked out of this movie going, I definitely like a lot of aspects of the movie. I think it dragged on in parts because of how much it telegraphed what the story was going to be very early on. And the parts of it that I really, really liked are the parts that surprised me, that sort of didn't follow the exact path I thought it was going to take.
I will agree on that, because I think that's one of the main reasons why I'm here, because I actually wanted to hear Kevin's take. Yeah. Some of the historic things got changed quite a bit. Yeah. And to me, because I'm not as attached to the character as some other people are, it didn't bother me at all. And in fact, it kept me like enticed, and I didn't know what was coming. Like, it kept me guessing. Kind of same as Ragnarok, which really surprised me. I didn't know what was going to happen, which is why I like it so much. Because some of the stuff I can guess. Doctor Strange, to me, was insanely boring.
So, in the end, I agree with sort of Kevin. It kind of falls in that B range for me, where it's like totally acceptable, but it's not going to be the one I'm going to reach to right away. It definitely has its moments. I don't regret seeing it. I enjoyed it. I'm going to buy it just like I buy everything else. But it's not necessarily a character that I'm going to be hugely invested in going to see a movie of.
Yeah, I really like this movie. Actually, way more than I anticipated. I've had my issues with some MCU movies, and even the ones that I haven't really hated any of them, but it's been a few of the recent
have.
ones.
Yes,
Iron Man
except
3
for Iron Man
is
3.
straight F
Yeah.
for you.
There hasn't been, my problems with Black Panther mostly revolve around the villain, which is my problems with most of the
Greatest
movies.
villain of all time.
Okay. When I have a hard time with the villain, I have a hard time with the movie because the movies usually revolve so much around the villain and their motivation. And so when I can't buy into the villain's plot, I can't buy into the plot of the movie. Whether it's an origin movie or whatever. So, like Ragnarok, Black Panther, I did not like those nearly as much as kind of the general audience did. Thor 2, Iron Man 2, I like those a lot more than the general audience. I don't know why. I thought they were fun movies. I really enjoyed Thor 2. I don't get the hate for that movie like in any way, shape, or form. I'm going to start my rewatch of them. I'm going to start watching them again on Thursday. I'm going to see if I can get to all of them before Avengers. So when I get to Thor 2, maybe I'll have a different opinion when I've seen it now for, I don't know, I saw it twice, so this will be the third time. Maybe I won't like it now. I have no idea. But I remember liking it. So going into this, again, a little bit like everyone else, my knowledge of Carol Danvers is Miss Marvel, right? I've tried the last couple Captain Marvel series. The current take on her, I have no attachment to or no interest in. Fortunately, this movie kind of doesn't. It really doesn't touch on anything modern with the character. It's just
quite a bit from everywhere.
Yeah, it just pulls from the classic stuff. It pulls, elements in costume design and stuff from the modern, but it doesn't. It's not coming at it for. She's not in the same position that she is in the comics, and my interest of her leading space alpha flight and. Like, I don't care about any of that. But so this is much more Carol Danvers, Miss Marvel stuff, just through the lens of, a different name and a different costume. So, cool. I won't say it's a flawless movie. It's not an A+, but it is... I gave it like a solid A- on my list. It's just out of my top 5 MCU movies. I really enjoyed it. Way more than I think I anticipated. And
we can't agree, motherfucker. We're supposed to be enemies.
I love the Marvel space stuff.
Ugh.
And so, like, Silver Age, and this, Kevin, I'm very glad you're here. Silver Age Captain Marvel is a bit of a blind spot for me. I know, like, the Bronze Age stuff. I know the Jim Starlin, Thanos.
Well, that's the real...
Yeah.
The Silver Age, the 68, the Marvel superheroes, that's the character that they just... scrapped together to get that trademark on the name.
Right.
Hold on. So, which one is the silver? Is that the green one?
The green
The
one.
green starts
The
with
green,
the green.
but he's a villain though in the beginning.
He's part of a Kree
Covert to
mission.
come down.
Yeah, so that
and
character,
scout.
the Jan Rog character, who
Takes
is in
elements
this
from that.
movie,
Right.
is Marvel's commanding officer in those original comics.
Oh, I see. But I feel like he takes some elements from that.
Yeah.
Which,
Captain Marvel
it's
character.
very
Yeah.
similar. Yeah, and that's a character that's appeared, again, in the 60s and, like, maybe twice since. Like, he's not a character that's appeared very often. I was like, the name sounds familiar, but I don't know the guy's backstory.
No, what I'm
at
saying
all.
is he took some elements of that Captain Marvel.
And applied it to the movie character.
Oh, right.
The bad guy.
Yes,
Jude
yes,
Law's character.
yes. Again, overall, really, really liked it. Way better than I thought. And to me, again, maybe a little bit why I like Thor. I like the powers. I love the powers. And holy shit, especially at the end, they did not short us on the powers. I thought, I love. It's a superhero movie, right? I mean, I love my Batman. I love Spider-Man. I love street level stuff a ton. But there's something about when she just fucking goes Super Saiyan at the end of the movie. Like, I love that so much, and we'll get into some more details later. The spoilers, but I like a good fight scene in a comic book movie, just a big superpower fight scene, and this definitely delivered a lot like the Thor movies did. So, very, very happy with this movie. Really liked it. So we'll probably talk a little bit more spoilers going forward here. I know I like to end with like box office numbers because there's a bunch to say about that. it is worth mentioning. I mean, we've talked about it on and off before, but the absolute just fucking venom from the worst quote unquote fans of all time just showed how just meaningless they are with this movie. Because not only was it reviewed very well, it stands as the 7th largest opening weekend of all time.
Mm-hmm. Can I?
So
before we get to spoilers,
yeah,
let me just ask a question because I legitimately don't know the answer to this. What is the Venom exactly about? Because this character is from the comics. It's not like they made Spider-Man into Spider-Gwen.
This is why I'm here.
We actually have
this is really fun.
We actually have some questions about this too. So I've got the answer.
But the Venom wasn't there for a Wonder Woman movie.
No.
A little bit for Wonder Woman, a little bit
barely,
from Black.
Though, not compared to this.
Yeah, a little bit from Wonder Woman, a little bit from Black Panther, but not not like this. Let me.
I think Wonder Woman might be too classic of a character for them to.
Yeah.
I also think if Wonder Woman came out now, you would see a very different internet reaction.
Yes.
Really?
Yes.
Yeah, I think next
It's
year.
gotten.
I think next year when we see
they started getting together.
It's gotten way worse.
Building their little armies.
Yes, the Venom and the organization that's kind of come out over the past year or two is scary.
I'm like, I don't want to go on about this too long, but we did get questions about it, and I know Toby, we were talking about it, and you're like,
I was kind of like,
what
this
is
is
up
how
with
I
this?
understanding is. Please tell me if I'm
Yeah,
right.
I just don't understand because it's a character from the comics.
Right.
It
has nothing to. Well, it. Okay,
let's get to the questions about it since we're already
It's a
addressing
bunch of
this.
man babies.
Well, let me.
Shit just
I
get laid,
didn't
but
want.
they're
I
not.
just was looking for the short answer. If we're going into spoilers now, but if you want to give a long answer, that's okay.
No,
too.
there's a longer answer. So basically, we've talked about Comicsgate numerous times on this podcast about which is part of Gamergate, which is part of the general alt-right.
I actually do not know about Gamergate.
It's the same thing for video games. A couple of years ago, they were harassing a bunch of female developers, a bunch of games that they consider alternative. They were like,
wait, are they boycotting like Tomb Raider?
No, only when her boobs are small. They want to go. They didn't like the new Tomb Raider because her boobs are too small.
Again, the way they swing is really funny. It's like love Tomb Raider.
Well,
I hate it.
They were like, oh, the Tomb Raider game. She's not like this super sexual character. Therefore, it's a bunch of liberal cucks making this movie or this game. Therefore, we hate it because why don't we have our porny Tomb Raider anymore? Oh,
man babies.
Yes.
And then they go on what is it? Kickstarter to get their porno Tomb Raider game made and try to get a lot of money.
Okay, so
just some of that.
Okay, seriously, wait.
So,
how do you, not you personally, but the royal you, even know this? This just sounds like a circle jerk of a bunch of people who think this way, who just kind of like...
It's a giant circle.
So how would it ever get out of their...
Well, what happens...
Ryan's been fighting the good fight, haven't you heard?
Yeah, so what happens, and this is just like anything else, there's places where this sort of mentality fosters and brings in all sorts of new people. If you look up Captain Marvel videos on YouTube, they have hundreds of thousands, if not millions of hits, and they're like trash talking about how it's the downfall of humanity, how
Captain Marvel's the downfall of humanity.
One of the
demasculinity of Nick Fury.
Right. Nick Fury does
Since when
dishes.
Is he not masculine?
Nick Fury does dishes at the end of the movie. Therefore, they're trying to wussify Nick Fury.
Okay, so they pick on that instead of this other thing. I'm totally curious on what Kevin is thinking about.
Well,
which I think is a bigger deal.
The real. I mean, they'll go after anything that they think they can go after, any sort of pop culture that they deem not for straight white men, that heaven forbid someone else has something going for them, especially women. But, I
just don't understand the crusade. Why? Why?
Because they're very bored, sad, pathetic people. That's the long and short of it, right? Because the world is too PC now, according to them. But again, this is not just comics. Every element of the internet is cursed with this type of stuff now, where where people get mad at that Gillette ad that was on. People get mad at this all stems from the greater political points of view that have been filtered down through pundits and through alt-right people on Twitter, and literally millions of people getting indoctrinated to this sort of way of thought through Reddit and YouTube. Because think about it, you're a 16-year-old kid, you don't have a lot of friends, you're a white guy, you're maybe overweight or kind of nerdy, you're on the computer a lot, you play video games, and you're hanging out with a bunch of people online that are like, yeah, fuck Captain Marvel, all those women, they're keeping us down. This should be the man
Keeping
Captain
me down
Marvel.
From what?
But But
I don't understand the what part.
I'm like, internet porn is free. What is wrong with these people?
Who cares about the porn part right now? It's like, why do they have nothing better to do? Fucking go outside.
This is the question. By not understanding, you're showing that you have some level of empathy.
No, but they literally just get the fuck out of the house.
Again. So the big argument around Captain Marvel and why they've been so adamant and failed miserably, mind you, but also adamant of going after Captain Marvel was a really bad faith argument about a quote that she said.
Did that really start at that? No,
Yeah.
but that's from a different movie, though.
Right.
But that started all of that? The hate for Captain Marvel, the movie? Because that started before the movie came out.
It has nothing to... They were going to pick any... It doesn't matter what it was.
Yeah.
This was a good scapegoat for them, right?
Okay.
It's
Now, for the people that don't know, it's a comment you made on Wrinkle in Time.
Yeah.
Something in the veins of she didn't care what a middle-aged white guy thinks of the movie because he was blasting movie or something like that. I'm paraphrasing though. Right?
I have the quote here. She said, "I don't need."
Wait, who's the she for context?
This is Brie Larson. This is
okay,
Brie Larson.
I thought you were talking about her comments on this movie about the press.
This started.
Okay.
This started it.
Yeah. She said, "I don't need a 40-year-old white dude to tell me what didn't work about A Wrinkle in Time. It wasn't made for him. I want to know what it meant to women of color, biracial women, to teen women of color." And then she said, "Am I saying I hate white dudes? No, I am not. What I'm saying is if you make a movie that is a love letter to women of color, there is an insanely low chance a woman of color will have a chance to see your movie and review your movie." During Wrinkle in Time, the press was all white men. And she's like, well, can we get other people involved in the review process because they're going to have a very different opinion of this movie. Yeah. And so when the Captain Marvel movement, she was doing press for Captain Marvel, she said, I don't want a room of 40 straight white guys looking at me and interviewing me about this. I want to talk to other outlets, other people. It wasn't, I don't want to talk to straight white men. It's, I want to talk to other people as well.
Cast a wider net.
And this is what I've gone on about in comic books forever, is that you can have your Spider-Man, you can have your Peter Parker, and your Miles Morales.
Well, that's the funny thing about the comic, because we actually agree with some of what their points are.
Well, and I had a big conversation with someone online who was a listener to this podcast.
Yes,
and
which you got me somehow involved in. Thanks a lot.
Yeah.
Thanks a lot, bitch.
Your response
said
was
that,
good.
I didn't respond.
We've all become a bunch of liberal cucks, and we don't understand. And Ethan Van Sciver's not a racist, and Comicsgate is a great thing, and they're trying to kill the white men, and blah 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 blah. Right? And so the conversation, I was like, you're seeing a distorted viewpoint of these quotes specifically made to rally you up, specifically made by guys like Ethan Van Sciver, who is now on his third Indiegogo, by the way, for a book he was supposed to have out in October and is still not published. He's fundraising again for the same book. I just want to let people know this guy's a scumbag of the highest caliber. He's stealing your money, basically. That's what I'm telling you. He's a thief. They're just trying to rile people up because those YouTube videos that get hundreds of thousands or millions of hits, that's fucking cold hard cash, baby. Hate views are so... and there's a very small group of people that are just getting so many people mad over nothing, and they don't give a fuck about it at the end of the day, right?
Yeah,
but it's real easy to make people mad about this stuff.
If their hate video goes viral, I mean, boom.
Even I'll end up watching it because I want to get mad about him being mad, and it's just more clicks and more money, right? And so I try not to watch or click any of that stuff, but that's what happens, right? So
you can watch it, just click report right after.
All these one of my arguments in this guy was, I don't read or care about Miles Morales or Kamala Khan or the Champions comic or Naomi. I'll check them out. They're not really for me. It's fine. I move on. I read a bunch of old white comics for white people, made by white people. Like that's just what I like, right?
Make fun of you all the time.
Exactly. But the difference here is, I'm okay with the others existing. I like them existing. I want them to exist so they can outreach to bring new people into the audience, right?
Yes.
And when I was talking to this guy on Twitter, I'm like, I don't usually engage, but I was like, fuck, you listen to the podcast. I need to understand. Like, can I convince you that you're following like people that are lying, just outright lying
I
to
think
you?
our viewpoint shouldn't be a surprise to this dude.
No.
And it seemed like it totally was.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
Which was surprising to us.
Yeah, I was like, do you not listen to this?
Yeah.
You said you do, so...
Well, he even has one of those
the
prints
and everything. They say about comics from us and everything, and I'm like, well, what do you? I'm sure we've lost people because they've gone full Comicsgate and they're just out there thinking that, I mean, you're in a room with 4.5 white guys, and we're telling you that you don't. These people are lying to you, that they're crazy, and no one's coming to take. So when Marvel got rid of Spider-Man, got rid of Captain America, got rid of the X-Men,
oh yeah, we had some issues.
I agree.
Yeah,
they shouldn't do that.
Yeah,
because you can do both.
Yeah,
right.
Yeah,
you are going to lose that audience, but Marvel brought the characters back. Captain Marvel, look, if Captain Marvel walks into Infinity War and punches Thanos once and he dies, I'm going to be pretty upset. Right. Mm-hmm. I don't think anyone wants that. I don't think that's what's going to happen. That feels like, do you want?
That'd be pretty lame.
Yeah, we would, right?
Yeah, it'd be pretty lame.
Yeah, because that's not
she wouldn't punch him. She'd snap.
Sure, but I think people are like, oh, they just make this woman. She's going to be stronger than everyone because she's going to save the day.
Well, the thing is leading up to Captain Marvel,
which I don't understand the problem of it either, though.
Well, this is the thing. Leading up to Captain Marvel, they were complaining about grasping at straws to complain about anything.
Yeah.
They were like, oh, well, she's, like you said, with the press junkets and she wanting a wider, diverse, press pool, whatever. They grasp straws at, oh, her power level is just so much greater. Like, this is the first time.
But it's like, do they not know who Captain Marvel is in the comics? That's who she is. That's her power. Like this, they didn't make her more powerful in the movie. She's fucking powerful in the comics. She always has been.
But what's fun, like it's funny, like they're just grasping at these straws. I'm like, you do realize we just watched a movie where a dude snapped his fingers and half of like existence, or half of like humanity, population of the universes went poof.
Yeah,
right. Like
that's
talking about like the power level. It's just I don't know. I don't understand how. Like, your brain can get so locked into that. I mean, I can understand how you can get locked into it because, especially with how...
Well, it's not beat around the bush. They have a problem of woman in power, basically.
Yeah, of course.
Yeah,
of course.
Yeah, that's all it really is.
But every other Marvel movie besides this and Black Panther are starring white men. Just don't see this one. That's how you vote. That's how you punish them.
Well, and that's...
with your wallet.
They had thousands and thousands and tens of thousands of fake reviews that went up saying stuff that doesn't happen in the movie to try to dissuade people from seeing the movie. And clearly it didn't work because it's going to be one of the biggest movies of all time, right? It has one of the highest openings ever in China. It's going to have one of the biggest
out of what,
movies ever.
We're at, 23, 21?
What's that?
We were at how many Marvel movies? 21, 22?
I think is Infinity War 21?
There's 2 movies that are starring, other people than straight white men.
Even when Ant-Man and Wasp came out, I remember hearing a couple people like, "Oh, we're gonna add Wasp to the title now, right?" It's like, well, yeah, sure.
But
she's
out of like 20 movies, there's 2 or 3 now. Oh, let's say 3. Ant-Man and Wasp. Let's count that one. There's 3. Who cares?
And it is a little weird that, like, because again, Harley's such a major part of Suicide Squad. Amanda Conner is such a big part of it. Obviously, the Wonder Woman movie. I heard a little bit around Wonder Woman, but not the craziness that's going on here. And people, again, we're going to get...
It's like everything else. There's been a level of escalation online that's been going on for a while now. Yep. So
And we're going to get 2 more Black Panther movies, 2 more Captain Marvel movies, 2 more Wonder Woman movies at a minimum, right? And
Comicsgate was just before they were just attacking like the creators and stuff like that. Remember the whole milkshake thing?
That's what started.
The person that the they were paying tribute to somebody who'd passed away.
Yeah. But
Yeah, like I don't. Comicsgate is the worst.
Well, I'll own this one. I'm the one who took us down this path.
No, I was going to go down it anyway because the whole point of this was there's a great article on Forbes that just looked at every movie, even pre-Ghostbusters, the 2016 Ghostbusters, kind of going through just saying, like, look, they came after all these movies, and Solo and Ghostbusters and a few others that kind of flopped. They didn't flop because of
The internet
and the trolls. They flopped because they weren't good movies and because of when they opened and other problems. They go after Captain Marvel more, and it's way more successful because it's a much better movie. So the success and failure of something like Solo was not because Gamergate and Comicsgate and all these hate groups went after Star Wars post Last Jedi. It was because they released it 6 months later with no advertisements, and it really and I have not seen it yet myself because I was super busy. It went up against a ton of other movies, and most people say it wasn't that good.
Yeah.
And the reviews were not that good.
Like
I liked
so,
it.
Solo was fun. I enjoyed it, but the thing is like you said, it's timing. We were used to having a Star Wars movie like every other year.
If it came
and
out,
we were doing every year. That's fine.
If it came out in December, it would have done.
It would have done so much
better.
Because that year it went up against.
Adams, there's been a
no, it
lot
was
of Star
Deadpool
Wars
2.
stuff.
Yeah.
It was Deadpool 2.
Was it Jurassic World? That was
I
the same
don't-
time?
It was Avengers.
No, Jurassic World was the same time.
Oh, Jurassic World was.
Yep.
So-
and
Because I didn't see Jurassic World either.
and Infinity War.
Yeah.
it
There was a
out.
lot of big movies.
Yeah, like it's like bam, bam, bam. It's like
So I disagree. I think the failure of Solo in the box office was tied to Last Jedi, but not because of the points people were bringing up. Because Last Jedi is one of those really polarizing movies. Not because of that, but just from Star Wars fans' point of view. And I know, at least for me, after Last Jedi, it was very hard for me to get jazzed about another Star Wars movie so soon. If Last Jedi was the best movie in the world to me, I'm sure I would have been right there for Solo.
Had it come out in December, you would have felt differently.
yeah.
But the same rationale, do you think Episode 9 is going to bomb? Of course not.
No, but I will definitely say that my excitement level right now for Episode 9 is not what it was for like Episode 8 or Episode 7.
Oh, again, don't get me wrong. We've talked about this. I fucking hated Last Jedi, right? I hated it. I am so excited for 9 because it's J.J. Abrams, and hopefully they can fix the fucking mess they made with 8,
That's
right?
such a nerdy thing to say.
But right? I mean,
Yeah,
Such a
but that's what I'm saying. It has nothing to do with the
and so
the way they were targeting The Last Jedi had nothing to do with
sure.
Solo, but I do feel like it was tied to Last Jedi, just not to the controversy they were pushing.
Oh,
on Last
absolutely.
Jedi.
Like, what really bums me out on all of this is, these guys that, are in their basements and mom's basements, whatever, which is all of us too, in some ways or some other ways.
You realize that if they heard that, they would scream at you. Hey, we're not all in my
No,
mom's
that's not
basement."
actually my point at all. I just find it sad that, where we finally got to the forefront where things are cool that we liked, and we can be open about it, why they wouldn't share it.
Oh, nerds are the worst gatekeepers of all time.
But I feel like it's like, it's they feel like they own it in some ways, and I was like, no. The whole point of it is for us all to enjoy it. So why the fuck are you so angry about Captain Marvel?
I want to see, Blade, Black Panther, I mean, again, my problems with Black Panther aside, I still like the movie a whole lot, right? I want to see more Black Panther movies. If they made a Black Panther movie every other year for the rest of my life, I'd be like, this is the greatest thing of all time, right? I
do want to strangle you every time you talk about that.
I like anime. I like Japanese movies. I want to see more. I'm curious about. We were just talking about Cowboy Bebop, the live-action TV show. I want to see that. Right? Give me Wonder Woman. Give me Birds of Prey. Give me Black Canary. Give me a Storm movie. Give me a fucking.
Yeah.
I don't care.
Yeah.
Anything. I love all this stuff. Maybe it's good. Maybe it's bad. I don't know. Right? My least favorite movie is Iron Man 3. That's a lot of white guys running around on that movie, being white, So I like and to go back to this Forbes article, they're like, man, and I hate that we've been talking about this, I think, longer than the movie, but it was just talking about like the trolls just, they're going to keep going after stuff, but you've got to the press has to stop posting their opinions like they're some sort of common belief. And like what we're doing now, we're just complaining about them, and that's therapeutic and fun. I'm not like, well, let's have a conversation about maybe Brie Larson does hate men. No. Like you cannot have those headlines. You cannot have those.
That's not a conversation.
But that's what makes.
To have.
But that's what gets clicks. That's what gets people involved, right?
That's the bait. That's the bait thing, right? And the thing is the whole like a big thing about it is like you said it earlier with you're watching these stupid YouTube videos because you want to see what they're saying but you hate it and you don't want to do it. The thing is what happens is when you push this out there and out there and out there and out there. People are going to be like, well, I want to see what the big deal is about, right?
Yeah.
So you're what you're trying to stop, you're actually pushing for.
Yeah.
And you're most likely going to add to it. Like, it doesn't make any sense.
Yeah.
Actually,
and like Toby said, get the fuck out of your house.
I really don't give a shit at all about these people because I just want to know what's going on. I talked to Ryan about it and go, this is how I understand it. Is this right? And he goes, yup. I'm like, all right, I'm done with this, basically.
I had some tweet that went a little viral over the weekend about the opening weekend box office and kind of making fun of Comics Gate and Van Sciver. And I got like one or two comments on it that were like, they're like, I keep seeing this thing. I didn't know what it was, so I finally looked into it, and I can't. Like, why am I wasting my time? And I'm like, yes, correct.
Yeah,
you should.
I mean, I kind of poked you too, going, why you laying the triggers out there? You do leave a little bit sometimes out there, for them to come after you, but.
Oh, I mean, I block so many of them; they never see it anyway. Yeah. So, but no, there's one thing to be knowledgeable and informed. But then there's another thing to like, well, maybe I should. No, you should not read up on this stuff. You should just know it's there, but then
move on.
Yeah. If you
ignorance,
don't know,
ignorance in this case is bliss.
Yeah.
All right, let's move on to the history of Captain Marvel.
Spoilers
please.
for Captain Marvel.
Yeah. Now
Boy, some people got a lot of listening.
I thought we were going to the history segment
if you're
with
still
Kevin.
still listening, it's history lesson time with Kevin. All right. So,
is there a theme for this?
Yes, there's absolutely a theme for this. There we go. All right. Captain Marvel.
I can't give you like a history of Carol Danvers because I only know her from
a blood injection.
No, from the Avengers when she was on the event when she was wearing like the black bathing suit.
Yeah.
It's too bad Jim is not here because Jim, I think, actually likes both characters.
Well,
the Warbird suit, right?
Yeah.
less Carol Danvers. I mean, you want to know?
Yeah,
like,
I actually
you want to
really
know
do.
Marvel.
Okay, so
backstory.
Marvel.
Yeah.
All right. So when I say this is my favorite Marvel character, I'm talking about the third.
Wait. I was not off on. You really do.
Yes.
Okay, because Jim likes Marvel also a lot.
Yeah, no. Him and Adam Warlock are my two favorite Marvel characters.
This is where...
And very interconnected, too.
Yeah.
Yep.
And I'm talking about of the Bronze Age, the Starlin era. That's when I say that.
So how did you feel right after this movie? I figure you would figure it out right away based on the name.
Well, the whole thing was that they were playing that game of who's Jude Law playing? It's a mystery role, and everybody just took it for granted that he was Marvel.
Yeah.
So, wait, are we doing the history thing?
We're
or
doing
this movie?
both. We'll do it intertwined. Let's.
So there are spoilers now.
Yeah,
Okay,
absolutely.
wait.
Spoiler ding dong. We're on. All right,
So
let's go.
the Marvel, Ryan, you just got the run of the early Captain Marvel.
We got some of the green costume.
Marvel superheroes, those issues.
It's the Captain Marvel.
So he's on a mission. It's like the beginning of this movie where there's a squad of them.
Yeah.
With Jan Rog as the commander, but they're going to Earth.
And this is all pre.
This is like 68.
This is all pre-Kree Skrull War. And
yeah. Because this is the Kree Skrull. He has the.
And they're scouting the Earth
Blue
or
and
something,
red.
right?
Yeah,
They're doing
yeah.
like the Man of Steel shit.
They're looking for the time when Earth is ready to be invaded and colonized.
Okay.
They're like the commando mission.
Yeah, when all the superheroes
Kind
are
of
out.
like Man of Steel.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So that's the first iteration, and the character is honestly
And
not
that's why
that
I'm
interesting.
calling them bad guys.
He's just not that interesting because he's just kind of thrown together to give a character that they can call Captain Marvel.
To steal the copyright.
Well, not steal it; it was just floating out there.
Yeah. Based on someone that had to give it up like
Yeah.
50 years before or something, right?
Well, when Shazam
20 years ago.
was
It was Shazam? Wasn't
Well,
there another
when
comic book character? Oh,
Yeah.
is that who DC took then?
okay
You really have to go far back with this Captain
in the
Marvel.
50s, Fawcett Comics lost a lawsuit to
Yes.
DC.
Yes.
Which means they could not. That's why the DC series is called Shazam on the cover.
Yeah.
Powers.
They couldn't use it on the cover, but on the interior of the comic, they
Use
could still call him Captain Marvel. You
Yeah.
just couldn't bill the comic as that.
Yeah, an excellent.
Then there's
DC is
another
coming out
there's another
Shazam next
character
week.
from it's not Gold Key, it's some other No, I can't remember.
Well, hold on, back up. Fawcett Comics, is it that Shazam Captain Marvel?
Yes.
Or is that
Yes.
okay? That actually
Yes.
is
It
Shazam
was
Captain
a
Marvel.
different company.
Then there's another
Okay.
company that had a Captain Marvel character where he could like divide himself into a bunch of parts. If you see the covers, is like his hands are floating free, his arms are float. He like breaks himself in pieces.
Yeah.
Yeah, and the Captain Marvel I was reading was Rick Jones slapping his fucking
Yes.
theme bones
Okay.
together. And
So that's the second. Okay. So there's the green and white is first.
Yes.
The second is when Roy Thomas and Gil Kane take over.
And there was a break, right? I mean, the book end, and then,
it just flipped.
It just flipped.
It's
Okay.
issue 17, I think,
Yeah,
of the
yeah.
original series.
yeah,
That's the one where Rick Jones finds the Negabands.
Yes.
And Marvel is trapped in the negative zone. And then they have this. It's basically Shazam and Billy Batson,
yeah,
where they trade places.
Yeah.
Where Captain Marvel can come to Earth for 3 hours
DC must really hate them.
before they have to go back.
And
before they have
this,
to switch back.
And this version of Captain Marvel lasts then for another 15 years or so. 10
Actually,
well,
years
that's
or
the
so.
one
it's till
remember
Starlin
reading.
takes over.
Yeah.
So it's like 10 issues. The Roy Thomas Gil
Well,
Kane is like
they bring that whole concept back.
yeah, but he has white hair and a red and blue costume.
Oh, right.
Blonde hair.
Well, blonde hair is when Jim Starlin takes over.
Okay.
And Captain Marvel is powered up to be given cosmic awareness and like the Marvel that we know.
Yeah.
And he's kind of de-aged in a sense that his hair becomes blonde instead of white. That's the one that I love. That's my favorite. Those drug
that's after Rick
70s
Jones.
cosmic crazy shit comics.
And that's
That's
the
after Rick Jones.
yeah.
Rick is still in it.
Okay.
Yeah.
But that's the Thanos.
Yes.
Yeah.
The Thanos,
That's-
Warlock,
Infinity
Drax.
Yeah.
all of that
Yeah.
period.
The Infinity.
Gems.
Well, it's like what are they? It's like one or two of the gems first, right? They're
Well,
called
Warlock
something
has
else.
the one.
Yeah, but aren't they called something else?
They're the gems, and then they were renamed the stones later.
No. In the comic, isn't it called something else at first?
Well, there wasn't.
There
they're
wasn't like the gauntlet comes way later.
Yeah, way later.
Yeah,
But-
they just
but-
have the gems.
Thanos has a gem,
Yeah,
and
yeah,
there's
yeah.
a thing in one of the issues, and sorry, Toby, I can't go this deep on it.
Yes,
where
you
there's
can.
something like there's some caption box or something where it's like the other 6 are calling out from across the
Yeah,
galaxy.
yeah.
But you don't know what the hell they're talking about
Right,
because you've
right,
only
right.
seen.
The one or two.
There's one.
Yeah.
Anyway, so there's the 3 iterations. It's the white and green,
Yeah, the white and green.
who's like a military soldier.
And they kind of homage that.
The original blue and red is basically the Shazam copy with Rick Jones where they're switching
I read.
places. The blue and red with the blonde hair is like the warrior who gives up war and becomes like a holy man, like an enlightened holy man wandering the
Yeah,
cosmos.
fucking kung fu master.
And
it's
he's the one
so-
that gets killed by Nitro later.
Well, later.
Yeah. Death Captain
He's the
Marvel.
one who jumps on the nerve gas canister in, I think it's 34. And they're like, is this the end of Marvel? Is this his death? Kind of like Spock in Star Trek 2.
Yeah.
Well, it's not then, but then 1982?
Yeah,
When
weird.
Starlin is,
Did turn him into David Carradine?
well, yes, kind of.
Wow.
Actually, that's a good comparison, but in outer space.
Wow. Okay.
Anyway, so there. And then that's the one who dies.
Yeah.
And then there's been some,
But he's the one that transfuses his blood into Carol Danvers.
yes.
For her, so part
in
Kree
the
blood.
Captain Marvel comic, so while this stuff is going on,
Yeah.
Carol Danvers is in the book. She's
Yeah,
That's what?
she's
Just
works
a
at
human?
She's not work. She,
Yeah.
yeah, as a human, she works at not NASA, but something like that.
yeah.
with planes.
Cape Canaveral. I
And
think.
then she gets powers.
There's an explosion.
Yeah.
it's like what happens in this movie, except instead of her shooting the thing, it just accidentally explodes.
Yeah.
And it's not the Tesseract or a
No,
gem
no.
or
But
anything like
I
that,
feel
yeah.
like this movie takes a lot from the original material
does.
and sprinkles
Yeah.
it in, right?
Yeah,
it
Because
does, yeah.
there's a lot of elements that we just covered in the history that are in this movie.
Well, and then in the 90s they bring back the Negabands and they bring back Rick Jones.
Wait, so did I read the 90s Megamans
You
or
read
the
you're
old
the
ones?
you read the 90s stuff because you read the
Well,
same
I don't know,
stuff.
man. In Europe, some of the shit is way back, and you bought the used
You read
stuff.
Operation Galactic Storm and all that, and that's all. That's
maybe.
all the Brown Coat Avengers stuff, and the lead up to
Yeah.
that, and that's
Did you,
all.
Did you see
when
that
they-
brown coat she was wearing?
Yeah, that's when they bring it back. So and so Miss Marvel. So a couple years later, she gets her own comic as Miss Marvel.
Yeah.
Carol Danvers. Because
And she's
just,
wearing
like,
the blue and red like Captain Marvel
right,
costume.
Right. And then she joins the Avengers on and off through a good chunk of the run.
But in those comics, she's just strong.
Yeah,
she's not.
She doesn't fly? Jump.
So she can fly, but
Okay.
she doesn't have energy
Does
blast.
she jump like the Hulk really high?
So Rogue got her powers from
Yeah,
Carol,
That's
right?
Carol.
She took too much power and got her, and so Carol couldn't fly,
For a-
right?
She almost
For a while,
died,
yeah.
didn't she?
Yeah, like I don't think she could fly, and I don't think she had super strength for a while after that. But then the powers came back. If I'm
Was
not
she in a
mistaken.
coma for a little while?
Yeah,
Yeah.
something like that. Yeah.
So this is totally how they're going to bring in the X-Men now, at least one.
The end of the movie is Rogue comes in and steals Captain Marvel's
Yeah.
powers. That would suck. So she's Miss Marvel. I mean,
Toby's like
up till like
No,
2010,
phase,
right?
Phase
She's Miss
17
Marvel.
is playing.
Well, you
through
know that
Toby's mind
if
right
Rogue
now.
is in, Gambit's not far behind. So yeah.
They bring back the Captain Marvel book a couple times. Peter David had two long runs around
Hulk Peter David?
yeah,
That was the
around
early
his son.
2000s.
Oh, Janice Vell.
Janice Vell, yeah. Marvel's kid, Janice Vell, which is kind of a...
Who was created after the fact. After he was
Yeah,
dead,
yeah.
his wife was so bereft that she
Took semen?
took, no, not semen,
like
but took
the-
DNA and
yeah.
grew the child.
Oh.
And then there was the like Photon, right? So
Yeah.
so
She's in the movie.
Monica Rambeau
Yeah,
with the daughter, right?
Yeah.
So
but I
that's
kind of like that. She
Well-
could be the successor.
they could just bring her in the next Avengers movie, or in a because if assume a sequel will take place in the modern day.
I really
right?
like the way they set that up, though. If they are doing that way. If they're going that way.
I kind of want them to fill in more on like the war. Like I kind of don't want them to jump all the way to modern day.
We'll get to the end of this, and we'll talk about like the Kree-Skrull War and everything.
Yes.
But I
What's up with the binary stuff?
yeah. So she becomes binary. So Miss Marvel takes on a new power, a new costume, and new powers or new name as binary, right?
Or
so
Photon.
and then and then Monica Rambeau is Captain Marvel for a little while. She's got like the
but
wedding.
then she goes
the white
binary
and
also,
blue.
though,
That's
right?
the Secret Wars era.
Yeah. So like the continuity of Captain Marvel, Miss Marvel is just like ridiculously complicated because they have so many characters that have had similar names, similar powers.
Yeah.
But it all led to now they bring it was after what's the thing because they bring Captain Marvel back as like a Flash as like he comes back as part of Civil War.
Yes.
Was it?
Yeah.
And it's after that where he's like, I'm gone forever.
Well, they reach
Someone
back
take
in the
my-
time stream and pull him out when he's alive.
Yeah.
Well, didn't he die of AIDS?
No.
Cancer.
Cancer.
Okay.
Yeah. He
No,
jumps on that.
That was the most ridiculous because it's just like Tony Stark. They brought him back and it's like, we want you to be the warden.
Yeah.
At this, like anyone could do that job.
Yeah.
Like you have these guys locked in a super prison.
Yeah.
It just seemed like a waste. Like the old thing used to be with Marvel, the only characters that are going to stay dead are Uncle Ben, Bucky, and Captain Marvel.
Yeah.
Well, so yeah.
One out of three
Ben
ain't
is
bad.
still alive.
Yeah.
Or I mean, still dead.
Yeah.
But, so
Well,
you almost blew my mind there. Like,
Yeah,
he's
yeah.
still alive?
yeah,
But it was a couple years after that they finally were like, all right, we're done with Captain Marvel. We're going to we want to bring in like a new Miss
Yeah.
Marvel, so let's make Carol Danvers Captain Marvel. And
So me going into this movie was complete. I had no emotional attachment. I had no expectation.
But you've read like the Miss Marvel comic. You've read like her and
No, I have-
Avengers. Well,
no.
her and Avengers at least.
in
So,
Avengers,
yeah,
yes,
yeah,
but not
yeah.
a solo book.
Sure.
So I'm just saying my attachment to Captain Marvel is to a character who's dead and gone, and I
Yeah.
knew he wasn't probably gonna. If he was in this movie, he would be a small part.
Then
Yeah.
what did you think when you figured it out?
It's just kind of like why. Like, why throw away your legacy character when that could have been anyone?
Yeah.
Or make it a man. I hate to sound like a comics guy, but it just was so unnecessary. I'm talking about the Annette Bening being quote, him.
Yeah.
Yeah, was that Wendy something versus the names were the same. It's almost the same name even, right?
Like his human name or
Yeah.
whatever. Yeah. I don't know what it is.
It just seemed so unnecessary.
well,
You could have named her anything else or just made it a male character and had it be him.
Yeah.
But I didn't walk out of the theater like fuming, ready to go on Twitter and, oh, this is an outrage. How dare they? Because 75% of the audience who sees this movie doesn't even know who Marvel is.
Here's the funny thing. Out of all the things I think they could have picked on, they didn't pick on this.
Well, I actually did. I noticed something when I was watching the movie, and it kind of reference back to where we were talking about people getting mad at it. And I don't know. Again, we're talking to 5 guys here. I actually found the conflicts in this movie, with like one sole exception, like shockingly gender neutral. There was almost nothing in this movie. The only reference in this movie where I was like, oh, it's kind of two, but this like man versus woman thing was.
It's the only time when they were like, we got to be the pilots because
we
to
the
prove
cockpit.
Ourselves.
And the guy's like, oh, why do you think it's called a cockpit, right? And that was really the only time. Even the guy on the motorcycle, that's like, hey, why don't you smile some more, or something like that, right? It was such a quick scene, and I feel like a movie previously may have drawn that scene out, and he harasses her or something like that. Her entire thing, she's like, huh? Oh, cool, bike, and just goes, right? Like the scene is just cut short.
That scene adds to something that I didn't like about the movie.
Well, we'll talk about that in a second. Yeah. So everything from her parents kind of mistreating her to the not being looked up on the military, those have nothing to do with being a woman. That has to do with being the younger child or being perceived as weaker, but not necessarily a woman in the example shown. All the conflicts are anyone can see themselves in. This isn't. Yes, you have I'm just a girl. You have the No Doubt song and a few but whatever. It's a good song. It's a cool scene, and she's not like, I can't do it because I'm a woman. Like, it's not like just drowning in feminism, which is so funny that again, that's the take that these guys had, that this feminist movie's ruining male egos. It's like, no, it's actually I think Wonder Woman had way more like super, and I don't say this in a negative way, but much more feminist ideals than this,
it's built into the character in that
than
case.
This movie does. Yeah. Well, and again, and a lot of these people that Marvel's just trying to be super feminist. Well, they were shockingly not.
What's hilarious to me about like the whole thing about she's driving in the cars and wanting to go faster, and the boys are telling her not to go, and blah blah. Like, yeah, that's what's going to normally happen in the course of like human interactions. Like, that's ingrained in our society.
But that's like a younger, but it's not necessarily a woman thing.
Yeah, no, it is to a point. Like, girls don't do this. They play with dolls. They don't race cars. They don't do this. But to me, it wasn't about that they were focusing on. What they were focusing on was that what happened? She fell and then she got up.
Yeah.
Like, what other character on the big screen have you seen that we've heard that line before? You get up. You fell, but you got up.
Well, Brock, you obviously didn't watch this phenomenal anime called Saint Seiya, which the whole show is about beating the crap out of each other, and you get back up. Anyways,
no, but
continue.
Seriously, what other character in movie cinema, comic book?
Many.
Rocky?
Yeah, many.
Yes, sure.
But
sure.
the biggest one is Batman. Right?
Okay.
Why do we fall, Bruce? So we can get back up. Like, that's a theme.
Of course.
That's a hero. That's the hero's theme.
Right.
Right. You fall, you get back up again. Yeah. So.
And again, like I said, this is not necessarily.
That song was in the movie, right?
What's that?
I fall, but I would get up again.
Chumbawamba?
Was the Chumbawamba in there?
Yes, I think so.
I want to say it was.
I think it was. I have, for some vague reason, I think it was in that movie.
Yeah. If it wasn't, that's stupid.
I just heard that song, so I can't remember if I heard it in the theater or if I just heard it on.
Ooh, doesn't Jude Law kind of look like Star Fox in the movie?
I could see that.
Yeah.
There's a character you will never see in a movie or anything like that. Star Fox with his rape power.
What?
Rape power.
Oh,
that is a character that they will never put in anything. I'll just...
Wait,
but
Star Fox?
Though, doesn't he look like
brother?
Oh, wait. Yeah, Eros, right? Yeah, Star Fox. Yeah, that's it.
Thanos' brother?
Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah. He just straight up has rape power.
He does?
Yeah, that's his whole thing. Is that
you?
I didn't read
Star
the old
Fox.
stuff.
Yeah.
I didn't read the old stuff.
Yeah, they won't. That's clearly they don't call it that, but that's
Yeah,
in the Dan Slott's She-Hulk run, they get very close to calling it that.
Well,
So, other thoughts on the movie?
I was very curious about you and Jim, because the two guys like the original character. So I'm gonna hit up Jim separately.
Oh, to me, especially at the end, I love the power set. I love when Mary Rambo, the Mary, right?
Maria.
Or Maria?
I think it's Maria.
Take a look. I like that last chase scene and everything, and and this goes back to
The Independence Day chase scene.
Sure. Maria. Yeah, it is Maria Rambo.
You just believe me, man.
No, for some reason I had Mary in my head.
Believe me, it's all right. It's okay. It's okay, right?
I love the final quote unquote fight scene with Yagran with Jude Law, because that to me just, again, a lot of movies would have just taken that as like throw down, have this big drawn out fight, and she's like, no, it just knocks him halfway across the planet. Like, I love that, because that's, she fucking powered up. She's like, well, I don't have to put up your bullshit anymore. I love that. So but I think between Goose, the not cat, and it's M. Jackson.
What are they actually called?
Flargon.
Flargon? Okay.
Yeah.
So I
love.
So I saw this headline, this toy headline, going, "Oh, toy, what's it called? Spoiling the cat."
Yeah.
So the entire time I thought the cat was a scroll.
Oh,
So I'm watching the movie. It's a fucking scroll. It's a fucking scroll, but it never happened. So I was actually surprised.
So that's good. Like, Skrulls. We got to finally see Skrulls.
they were a good
I
job.
really liked them.
Yeah.
I really liked them. I really liked the spin. And in fact, I like the spin so much. That's why I like the movie so much, I think. We consume so much comic book movies, stories, books, whatever. In a lot of ways, some of these comic book movies are quite boring to me at this point. And when they flip something in a way where I can go with it, this is kind of cool, I'm all for it. And this was one of those moments. The
Kree and the Skrulls, they are normally portrayed kind of villainous.
Yeah.
For the most part,
Both
right?
of them, right?
Right, for the most part. But again,
now the Kree are the blue people, the Smurfs.
Yeah,
right?
if you think about them,
the ginormous Smurfs.
if you think about them, they are a giant race of people. So there's going to be a bunch of assholes and a bunch of bad people and military, and then there's going to be just regular Skrulls. I would love to see like the Kree Skrull war through the eyes of Captain Marvel, where she's dealing with like, do I forsake the kind of the people I came with, the people that I sort of lived this sort of second life with. Yeah. I'm friends with these Skrulls, but look at all these assholes.
Yeah.
All these other asshole Skrulls. Because it seemed like they sort of set up that there weren't too many Skrulls left, but that's easily something they can pull back from and just be like,
well, I mean, they did that in the comic book too, with the whole secret invasion and that stuff.
Yeah.
I mean, I think the biggest disappointment for me with the Skrulls was we didn't get any that turned into cows.
Well, maybe the next movie. That's all they bring in the FF.
Yeah,
But,
that was my big takeaway too. Is like, now that we got to see actually some excellent looking Skrulls that I can see. What was her name? Lilia. That was with Human Torch.
Oh,
Was that
Lyda?
Lyda?
Is that her name?
Yeah. I can kind of see that now. like there's all this, like, I can see Super Skrull coming into the Marvel.
Elijah,
yeah. Like, I kind of, for some reason, I saw Elijah right away. I'm like, there'd be good Skrulls. There could be one with Human Torch. And I'm
maybe
like,
the daughter, his daughter is Elijah.
Oh, is it his daughter?
No, I'm just making that up.
But then, like, also Super Skrull is, like, not too far away from all of this stuff now. So I'm like, okay.
Yeah.
Bring on the
well,
FF.
I think the movie does a really good job setting up, like, it sets up a time period that we can still like see stories in the Marvel U, right? Like
that post credit scene.
The mid
was great. Mid credit scene. Yeah.
But that's for what's coming up.
And that was directed by the Russo brothers too.
Yeah.
Well, I mean,
makes sense.
I would have assumed that.
Yeah.
But I think for the point I'm trying to make is that, like you had said on Twitter, because somebody had asked us about, did the guy that played Ronan look weird, or was it the same actor? And I was like, yeah, it was the same actor. It's just you had the best reply. It's like, yeah, he hasn't gone full on accuser yet.
Yeah, he's not like the full like Thanos death cult
Yeah,
yet. Like he's
He
still.
also-
Well, he
Left
doesn't
war paint
have
on his eye.
he doesn't have the full
He doesn't have
mask.
the war paint.
Yeah. No, that's what.
Yeah, like he doesn't have the
Saying,
war
yeah,
paint.
he didn't go-
He hasn't
yeah,
gone,
yeah.
and so we can see things like possibly the Kree Scroll War as something that is maybe in Captain Marvel 2, right? Or
Yeah.
Captain Marvel Kree Scroll War. So I'm super stoked at where this character can go in the future for the MCU movies.
Yeah, it's a cool kind of recent but underdeveloped section of the MCU movies. We don't have a lot. They go back early, like World War II and early days of Tony Stark's parents and everything like that. But they don't have a lot like early Shield days or pre-Avengers Shield days. I like the him kind of getting the Avengers name off of her and everything. So that was
So
fun.
basically, Peggy started S.H.I.E.L.D., but he started the Avengers.
Yeah.
I could go with that.
Yeah.
I actually have forgotten that Howard Stark got the the Tesseract.
Yeah.
So I was actually kind of confused in timeline on how the Tesseract was in this movie, because I actually thought it was on a boat somewhere with Captain America, but supposedly Howard Stark found it before he found Cap.
Well, he was looking for it. I don't remember him. Like, I think he found the shield, I want to say. Or did he actually find the Tesseract at the end of Captain America 1?
You said Howard Stark?
Yeah.
Yeah. Well, this has been bopping around. The
Because-
Tesseract's been bopping around on Earth for a while.
Yeah, but,
but
so
wasn't it
went
with-
down with
With Red
Cap,
Skull.
Yeah.
In
and then
the
they show
plane.
him trying to recover it,
Right.
but he recovered Cap's shield then, or did he recover the Tesseract? I can't remember
I think
for sure.
I think he recovered the Tesseract because was it the
Well, maybe he. I don't know if he does because
Annette Bening's character said she was looking for a power source on Earth.
yeah. So she probably
she was
probably
probably-
went and got it.
Yeah, so she
Yeah,
could have gotten it, or so I think it's a little like
I'll tell you when I get to Cap in a day or a couple days when I get to watch it. I'll see if I can. I'll take some notes.
Because I thought the movie ended with the Tesseract was on the plane when he was fighting the Red Skull, and then fell on the ground and it melted through the plane,
Yeah.
and it fell on somewhere. I just don't remember what happened then, and someone said it was Howard Stark that found it.
Found it later.
I remember
So
he was
it with
looking
S.H.I.E.L.D..
for it.
Yeah, so it was it was his shield, then I guess afterwards maybe.
That's my recollection, was that he found the shield in the wreckage.
Okay.
Well, I love that they had Ronan. I love that they had Korath in it. His one of the
Yeah.
Who?
yeah.
That's like everybody goes, huh? Oh shit! It's the Who guy.
I did not even recognize him. I
Yeah.
just wasn't even thinking about
didn't
it.
recognize till,
and
like,
Leanne's
halfway through.
Leanne's like, isn't that the guy from Guardians?
Well,
and I'm
the
like,
funny thing is, when
oh,
he
shit,
came out,
you're
I was
right.
like, what the fuck is he doing here? And my buddy Mike is turning, dude, it's a prequel. I'm like, yeah, no shit, man, I know it's a prequel.
it's Shazam. So Wizard Shazam. Yeah. So that was pretty cool, and I love all the throwbacks. And I'm sorry, I actually really like how Nick Fury loses his eye.
Yeah, how he loses his eye
I
is
thought that
great.
was okay. That was pretty funny. You're expecting some like gigantic, crazy story, but
I do actually like
thought that was okay.
young Nick Fury.
Oh, he was great.
He has a little Shaft vibe with him.
Oh, well, I mean, a little Shaft vibe. He's fucking straight out of Pulp Fiction. I mean,
Yeah.
so many of those scenes they took like direct scenes from Pulp Fiction
Yeah.
shots.
Well, you know that
loved it.
when he finds out what the Flargan, right?
Yeah, Flargan.
Well, like once he knows
Right.
what the Flargan, the not cat is.
Yeah.
Once he knows what it is, you like at some point you expect him to go, "What the fuck?" But they can't swear in this movie because it's not rated R. But it's like, yeah, that's probably what he would say. So, but yeah, Samuel L. Jackson did a great job in the movie.
yeah, and it's good to see
It's good to see him fully in a movie.
Flurgan. There you go, Flurgan.
Flirt.
Well, and I like that we get to see Agent Coulson back again.
Yeah.
Not enough for a ton, but that was good. God, I want a Skrull movie. I want like a dark ass like espionage Skrull movie, just infiltrating.
I have a feeling the sequel to Captain Marvel might be a sequel to this movie, which is a story we won't it's out of timeline.
Yeah.
So we could see a sequel a la like Wonder Woman, where it's maybe you do get your Kree Skrull War.
Yeah.
And just, out of order in ways.
Yeah.
For me, that's what I'm hoping for. Like, I didn't get to the end of Wonder Woman immediately going like, I hope they do another time period. I'm fine with them doing another time period Wonder Woman movie, but that wasn't something that I ended that movie thinking I needed. This movie, I specifically ended going, I really want another.
Yeah.
I want more filled in on this story.
Well, I think with Wonder Woman 2 is I really appreciate Wonder Woman that they went with World War I versus World War II, just because World War II has had so much like it's been used in Hollywood so much it's been overplayed, and then when they go forward and do the next one, it's they're picking the Cold War era.
Yeah.
So I'm like, and that's something that's not really looked at as much either.
Well.
So I mean, it is, but
It is. But it's obviously from a very different point of view.
yeah.
Not a lot of superhero movies based on the early 80s.
But I think, overall, this movie just does a really good job, like mixing together the history of Captain Marvel, sprinkling it all together and making it, a solid B minus movie. I think, overall. The one problem I have with this movie, though, is a big problem.
Okay.
And it goes back to the motorcycle scene.
Okay.
So she steals some clothes off of a mannequin.
Yeah.
And she steals a specific T-shirt.
This feels like a very dumb Barack.
Shut up. I don't care.
Not
Shut
real
your face.
problem.
Shut your face. She's wearing a Nine Inch Nails shirt throughout most of the movie. And yet there's no Nine Inch Nails song on the soundtrack.
Probably be rated R if it was.
I feel like I was robbed.
So about that post-credit scene.
Mid or post?
Post.
Yeah, okay. Hacks up the...
As I'm sitting there, I like the mid-credit. We could talk about the mid-credit scenes, but
it's fun. It's a dumb scene.
Well, I was kind of like, I hope I'm not sitting here till the very end to see the cat throw up the cosmic cube.
Yeah.
I called it. Actually, I thought it was going to come out the other end, to be honest with you.
But where do you assume that happens in the timeline?
They've got the cube in Avengers 1.
Right.
Yeah.
So I'm assuming it just happened right then after this movie, because he's still got that simple desk with just the Enfuriator
Shield
nameplate. So
Shield's had the cube this whole time. They just
it was wasn't it on Asgard?
No. In Avengers 1, just Shield has it.
Yeah, Shield.
Am I just totally out of my mind here?
Skarsgård has it. The dad. The what's the guy's name? I'm blanking on the guy's name.
In what?
In Thor.
Oh, Stellan Skarsgård.
Yeah.
At the end of
the
Thor.
end of Thor. But he's working with Shield.
Wasn't it in Odin's trophy room at some point?
But didn't someone say it was a fake?
No, that was the gauntlet.
The fake gauntlet.
Oh, the gauntlet. Okay. I remember them referencing the Tesseract in Thor.
Does it?
But if I recall,
because that's when,
and this is me trying to pull it out of my brain, doesn't Thor take it there at the end of Avengers?
Yeah.
Yes, that's it.
That's right.
I knew there was some connection to Asgard with the cube.
Yeah.
They take it to Asgard for safekeeping.
Yeah.
And then
in Avengers 1, they go. Loki goes to Earth to get the Tesseract from Shield.
Yeah.
And then they take it back, and then it's Dark World that it's the Tesseract.
Dark World's the
Dark World is the other stone, and they don't want to keep two stones in the same place, so they give it to the collector.
Yeah.
Okay.
And then basically it's not till Ragnarok that Loki reclaims the Tesseract to get stolen by Thanos at the beginning of Infinity.
Very conflicted.
My other thing was not about Nine Inch Nails. Was just from a comics point of view, from a narrative point of view. When she gives him the pagers, like, only for in the case of an emergency, you use this. Knowing what we know, I know this movie was just made, but I'm saying having all of the knowledge that we have, my thought was kind of like, Avengers 1 was probably the time to push that frickin' pager. A literal invasion.
Yeah. But he assembled his little team, so he might have been
the thing is I think what he was doing was it would be
but I agree.
It would have been the, oh shit, they can't do it. Let me hit this button real fast. Maybe how fast can she get here?
Yeah, but that would have been.
But hey,
dumb.
you know what we learned? But the thing is we didn't need Captain Marvel then. You know why?
Oh,
because we had a Hulk.
While we're on that, though, the Chitauri back then were supposed to be the Kree, right?
Mm-hmm.
I don't know.
You mean the
No, there was no. Weren't they supposed to be the Skrulls?
They were supposed to be Skrulls.
They were basically stand-ins for the Skrulls.
Yeah.
Okay. Because at that time they couldn't use them for some
Right,
reason, so they
yeah.
made up some
Because of the FF.
Well, the Chitauri are from the Ultimate Comics, so they're a real thing, but
They
not.
are?
Yeah, but they're not.
It's the Ultimate Universe stuff.
They're not anything that anyone cares about now. Good throwaway race for them.
Wait,
to
but then
slaughter.
why can't we use FF now? Fox deal hasn't been finished yet.
March 20th. Apparently, it's going through.
Yeah, but that's in the future.
Well, they've made deals for some of these characters, right?
Yeah,
Like
they made a deal for Ego.
for Ego,
already.
and they and for what's her face, one of the characters in Deadpool.
Yeah, the Negasonic Teenage Warhead.
Yeah, that was not a character that the Fox had at the time.
Well, didn't they make a deal with Scarlet Witch and Quicksilver?
yeah.
Yeah, but that was
was
weird.
Yeah, it was a weird one.
Well, that was like you get one. You just can't have. You can have Scarlet Witch, but you can't have a line. You can have Quicksilver, but you got to kill him.
Yeah.
Remember when Quicksilver was in an Avengers movie?
Yeah.
I almost forgot about that. Yeah, I don't know. I really want to see where they go with her, and then in the next couple movies, you have Hulk and you have Thor. There's a crazy level of power there, but Captain Marvel brings like another level of power. Even like she is as close to like. As close as like a DC character I think they have in the Avengers. Like she feels like Superman, and Thor and Hulk are not Superman. They're very different characters. She clearly doesn't have the same powers, but she's the only one that can. Well, Vision can fly. None of the others.
Iron Man can fly.
Yeah,
As long as he has a suit.
He falls a lot. For a guy that can fly, he falls a lot.
Well, so
Thor can.
Yeah.
aren't you interested? How do you think Captain Marvel, we can get this on recording now and be proven wrong in 2 months, plays in Endgame? Because the solution to the Thanos problem isn't just out punching him, because they
Right.
had him beaten in the first movie physically.
And I think that's her role in this is her and Thanos go head to head while Ant-Man just takes the gem off, takes it off his hand or whatever, right? Just like I 100%. I mean, Ant-Man and Hawkeye are going to play major roles in this movie. I 100% want them to be the one to take down Thanos.
So I have a power question.
Question.
I know there was a point in time where she could sort of rechannel power.
Kind of like Cable, sort of take it and shoot it back out or whatever.
You mean Bishop?
Or Bishop, sorry. Yeah, not Cable.
Yes. I've never been quite as insulted right now.
Number 5 Cable fan on the table. So
Yeah, but I remember her having some, not necessarily working exactly that way, but having some ability to sort of channel power through her,
I don't know, maybe.
which I would assume that would make her the perfect person to go, even with the gauntlet, sort of toe to toe, if she can siphon off some of that power while facing him. Especially considering her power kind of comes from one of the gems in the first place.
Yeah, I've no clue.
In this iteration.
We're gonna keep talking, but I do have some questions. I have some comments from people. I'm gonna go through some of these, and we can all kind of group answer. And I'm sure if anything else jumps out at you, feel free to just jump into wherever. Julian Titus says, I thought Captain Marvel was great, but as a huge fan of the cosmic part of Marvel, I feel like the movies fall short in showing off this part of the universe. This is the second movie with the Kree, and I still don't think they've done a great job explaining who they are or why they do what they do. I mean, they're just conquering race of aliens.
Race.
Yeah. I also don't know how I feel about the Skrulls being sympathetic characters, and how many of you guys kept hoping that Annette Bening would turn into the actual Supreme Intelligence during that final showdown.
That would be awesome.
Much like in Guardians 2, my absolute favorite scene is really like, and now we get Ego for 1 second, but we see the actual planet.
Yeah.
I was like, okay, that's awesome. Look, I don't care how they're going to do Supreme Intelligence, but if you just gave me she leaves and you just see this big shadow of this tentacle fucking brain thing for just a second.
You make a hairball tentacle thing.
Sure, just that's all I wanted. I would have loved that, but what are you gonna do?
A quick question, since we're on the Supreme Intelligence.
Yeah.
What would the Supreme Intelligence look like to you, Kevin?
Oh,
I know how they look like. They look
would
like
look like-
fucking
mine would
Captain
look like
Jack when he's
Bryce.
in the future.
yeah. Leanne said she was surprised that they didn't bring up Yog Braun's what he sees, right? She was like, oh, maybe he sees Thanos. That he's actually, this is like an early kind of him trying to do stuff with Thanos. And I'm like, that'd be pretty cool. I don't know. I actually read online. Apparently, there was a scene that they were going to do that got cut. He sees himself. So that kind of
Fits with what we saw of the character.
Yeah. So he's just kind of an asshole. I like the idea that it would have been Thanos. That Thanos for this long has been kind of planning, and that would have been a cool twist. So I do like that.
So anyway, who would you see? You'd see Bryce. Toby, who would you see?
What?
So from Dan. Dan says,
no, you can't. You can answer. This is a fun question to answer.
Dan says, I can't decide how I feel. Brie Larson for sure kicked ass as Carol. Enjoyed her mystery. The conflict never felt urgent. Pacing structure felt off, and the tone was hard to nail down. A good enough debut, but definitely excited. To see where they take Captain Marvel going forward. I heard a few people say like that they thought the pacing was a little off, and you maybe even mentioned that a little. I don't know. It felt like a sort of regular movie to me. I didn't.
So my issue with the pacing isn't really with the pacing. It's as an audience member, yes, I knew enough about the character to know, okay, she really is human, et cetera, et cetera, et cetera. But from a narrative point of view, it is kind of frustrating to sit there and slowly wait for the character to figure it out, no matter how much they telegraph it and sort of.
I like the just kind of casual flashbacks occasionally when the scrolls are probing your brain, because I don't need a 40-minute introduction to the character.
No, I don't need a 40-minute introduction to the character, but it frustrates me to see a character take the pieces and have no clue for that long.
Yeah.
I think this one was like 2 hours, right around 2 even. Yeah.
It flowed fine for me. I don't.
Yeah.
But, I mean, my kids asked, is it almost over, Daddy? I think about with 45 minutes left.
Yeah.
And I said, oh, yeah, it's almost over. But they didn't notice it. Like, I think at the beginning of the movie, there is a little bit of a drag, kind of.
Well, you start like straight into the action.
You start straight into the action, but I think there's a little bit of a drag with what Charlie was saying, with kind of these pieces that you're kind of throwing together.
The problem is we already know what the puzzle looks like, basically.
Yeah.
There wasn't really any big reveal around her history, because it gave you just enough to be able to piece it all together. So there wasn't really a big revelation scene around that.
When they get to the Rambos, sure, maybe they could have thrown a big fight scene in there or something that kind of spruced it up a little bit.
It wasn't even the fight. I didn't love the first like half hour when they're on that mission with the scroll. I thought the story really kicked in once she got captured.
Yeah.
At the end of that.
Yeah, of course. Yeah.
But again, it's one of those things of, especially when she gets captured and she starts seeing information she couldn't possibly know as a Kree, I would have liked her to act a little more intelligently.
Travis says, good origin story for Carol. They definitely changed some things. Biggest surprise is Annette Bening's character, but still enjoyed it. Great seeing a younger Fury and Coulson and how he lost his eye. Don't like the scroll change, but they could retcon it later. Great after credit scenes. And again, with the scroll, it's not a retcon. It's just, these are just fucking, people that are trying to escape the war between the Kree and the Skrulls, right? Yeah. And again, they set it up that we're kind of all that's left, but that's not necessarily.
Well, for me, I think
they also don't make it seem like that's all that was left.
Yeah. Well, I think,
from the Kree perspective,
right?
I think for me, I cared more about the Skrulls in this movie than I have in the Skrulls in the comics. I think because we got that kind of, the Kree are basically kind of not unless they're wiping them out, but forcing themselves onto this race of people that just doesn't want to be bothered with them. So it's like
again, maybe I'm reading too much into it. I shouldn't. I have to only look at what the movie gives us, and the movie gives us that the Skrulls are totally fine and peaceful, and the Kree are a bunch of assholes. But as a comic person, I know that's not true. Yeah. So I assume that there is this other element. And again, if they're in a war, clearly there's something shit going on both sides, right? I mean, there's a level of violence here. It doesn't come off that the Kree are just evaporating these people from reality, and the Skrulls are not fighting back. I don't really.
Oh no, they make it very clear that the Skrulls are playing to their strength with espionage and information gathering.
So I
tied up in the Marvel. I'm pointing to a book. Good radio.
It's the complete
tied
collection.
Up in that story in the green and white era.
Yeah.
There is a flashback, I believe. Anyway, the storyline is that the Skrulls originally were like a peaceful, like science race who became militaristic and hostile because the Kree. To sum it up, the Kree started it.
Yeah.
And the Skrulls became that way to fight back and protect themselves.
Yeah.
But in the movie, you're meeting, 20 Skrulls?
Yeah.
They're well, we just want peace. Well, that doesn't stand in for the whole race.
Right.
So you could clearly, in the next movie, here's the other million of them with all their ships.
Yeah. Brendan says, although I liked it, I still felt Fury's eye loss was pretty anticlimactic, but that's my only gripe that I'm cool with it. Yeah, no, again, I thought it was funny. It was a funny scene.
So my favorite part of that isn't necessarily how he lost his eye, but when Coulson asks him about it. That was the part I loved.
The joke is like everyone's like, "Are you okay? You sure?" Oh yeah, it's gonna be fine. It's fine. It's gonna be fine. It's like, no.
All right,
Tim might want to get that looked at.
Tim says the Skrull reveal versus the Mandarin reveal. I was fine with both, but what do you guys think?
Skrull reveal.
Oh, give me a break. Mandarin was fucking the worst thing of all time. Like, the Skrulls to me is just not even it's like, okay, that's totally cool. That works. It's unexpected. Neat. The end. Mandarin's like crime against cinema. Like,
so,
I don't need, it's like not even the same category. Kevin's trying so hard.
I can't.
Like Lex Luthor at a table full of Otises right now.
So, Otisburg.
I don't feel like I can.
Third Otis. This is like the third time I've quoted Otisburg in the last 2 days.
Otisburg. I don't feel like I can fairly answer that, but that's because I love the Mandarin as a character. Like, I have a attachment to the Mandarin as a character that anything that doesn't resemble the character that I'm familiar with is going to bother the shit out of me.
Sacrilegious.
Basically, yes. I'm much more sort of forgiving. Like, I like the Skrulls, but I don't immediately think of them when I think like Fantastic Four villains or something like that. They're just another good sort of backdrop of a race that, like, I think the Kree-Skrull War or Secret Invasion or that kind of stuff. But
didn't they originally have a Mandarin plan? Didn't Obadiah have one of the rings, and then there was another ring somewhere? Like, they had a plan originally, right? At one point,
there was talk that the terrorist group was like one of the rings of the Mandarin or something like that. But they never, to the best of my knowledge, they never actually did anything with that. It's not actually in the movies now. It's
I thought Obadiah had one of the Mandarin rings.
Yeah, but I mean, they never... Maybe they were going to reveal that, but they never did, and so it's a plot that got scrapped.
Yeah. As I said, that's just one of those...
A lot of stuff got scrapped.
It could have been a lot of other characters, and I would have been much more forgiving of it.
And plus, the Skrulls are like a race. It's not a reveal of a iconic character.
Right.
I can't imagine anybody really being bothered by the Skrull reveal. I think his question was which was better.
Yeah.
Something like that.
Well, I in the Skrulls too, I think you have the Super Skrull, you have Lyja, and Lyja, for people to know, she was a Skrull that was taken over. What's her face? Alicia Masters in the Fantastic Four, and was going to marry Johnny Storm, and they had this whole plot where Alicia Masters fell for Johnny Storm, and then they're like, oh, by the way, she's a Skrull 90 issues later. So sorry, we're going to retcon our own thing by saying she was a Skrull, and then she was on the team for a while. I like those era. I like that era. Norman's got an important question. He says, which item upsets or disappoints you the most? The people actively trying to tank Captain Marvel on review sites prior to the movie release? Aunt Becky in the college admissions scandal, or Brock Sager when he arrives at the shop and backs into his space? Which do you hate more? It's our good friend Norman on Twitter. I do hate it when Brock backs in space is unnecessarily.
How does Norman know that last one?
Oh, he knows.
Okay.
He knows my anger of people that back in the spaces.
We've had Twitter things.
Oh, okay, I got it. I'm like, wow, that's a deep cut.
Yeah.
He's like, I hate people that back in. I'm like, I back in all the time.
If you're loading or unloading, back in any space you want. If you're just an asshole, just pull in like a normal person. Don't back into spots. Just pull in normally.
I got a truck.
When you back in, you cause all sorts of fucking problems because you're pulling up and then reversing. I'm pulling onto your ass, and if you reverse, you're going to hit me. Pull into a spot normal. Don't back in the spots.
Why are you coming up my ass?
Because you're in a parking lot. Fucking move your car. Keep driving. If you pass a spot, you're not parking in it. Don't back into a spot. If you pass it, you passed it. Keep going.
Just so you know.
So wait, what are
I
the
back
three?
in every day when I come to work.
What are the three choices again?
I'm Becky in the college admissions scandal, which is a hot topic today.
Yeah.
So, but of course, I'm much more bothered by the people trying to review on Captain Marvel. So, despite
I apparently missed some scandal.
I don't know what's.
Oh yeah, Charlie was a big
yeah,
big news story.
Aunt Becky?
awesome.
What?
It's this. The one sentence version is a massive bust of a bunch of, including some celebrities, rich people bribing their kids into Ivy League schools.
yeah.
Yeah, but that's always happened.
Yeah, a bunch
This
of
is-
coaches.
this is all like a
bunch of-
different
Well,
level.
it's normally happened with like, hey, we're going to put our name on a new gym for you guys.
Yeah, exactly.
Wink, wink. This is like, here's some cash.
Yeah, it's
this is a bigger deal.
Straight pay.
Yeah. Jeremy said, I enjoyed it. Wasn't the greatest nor the worst. It's purely setting up her character for Endgame. I don't know. I don't agree with that.
No, I think it's setting up. I think it's setting up the character for basically the Kree Skrull War.
It's setting up the character.
And her,
period.
Yeah.
She'll also be in Endgame.
Yeah.
All the haters need to relax. Just proving Thanos right more and more every day.
Oh God, if we could snap and like they would all disappear.
Orlando says, with Captain Marvel also being a child of infinity, like Scarlet Witch,
That's true.
Is that like a current thing? I don't know.
What?
No. That's directly out of Quicksilver and Scarlet Witch in God damn it, which movie was it? It's at the start of Avengers. They were being experimented on.
Yeah.
Oh, that's right. That's right.
And they were created using the
Oh, one of the gems, right? Stones.
Stones.
I mean, it wasn't.
It was like the power from it, right?
I'm trying to remember exactly how it was done. Because it was
Well, he says which stone is more powerful, space or mind? Right. So the Tesseract is space. So the mind gem is the one that made them.
Yeah, it was the staff. They had Loki's staff,
Yeah.
and they were using his staff to do that. Yeah.
Okay, I didn't even think about that. That is interesting.
But his staff had powers from the Tesseract.
No, his staff had powers from the mind gem.
The mind gem.
Yeah, was in the staff.
Which
That's right,
later
that's right.
goes to Vision.
Oh, that's
right.
right,
They
that's right,
used
that's
to create Vision.
God, it's
So
been so long
he
since
says,
I've watched those things.
who's more powerful, Captain Marvel or Scarlet Witch? And it's like, comic Scarlet Witch is like this other. I mean, like modern day. It's like this other godlike being that could do whatever they want. In the movies, she doesn't. It's not like that.
No.
They don't play her up that way.
Her powers are not played up.
Is that even that way anymore?
in the comics?
Yeah.
I mean, yeah, absolutely. Yeah. I mean,
they played it up a lot for like Disassembled and like twisted it to more reality alteration, but I kind of felt like they pulled that back a bit after
but
that.
then they could just put it right back if they want to, right? I mean, she's as powerful as the story needs. Captain Marvel's powers.
Well, but that's the same of like every character.
Sure, but her
Yes,
powers.
Wolverine can come back from an atom 1 minute and take.
But her powers are a little more undefined. That's the problem. I mean, Wolverine can regenerate, but if you throw him into the sun, he can't teleport back to Earth
until
right?
they make him the Phoenix.
Well, Wolverine didn't used to be able to do like what he did
No.
in X2 when the son gets shot in the head
Yeah.
and then the bullet like pops out and his wound heals.
Yeah.
I mean, he's killable.
Yeah.
Well, was.
Yeah, and that's sort of my point. They fluctuate power levels by story and creator a lot.
It's a question from Jim, or not a question, it's a comment, not Jim, other Jim.
Who?
We didn't even talk about this. He said, love the Mallrats script reading. Great moment.
Yeah.
Oh yeah.
Oh, what about the
It's rehearsing for the movie.
And
It's
the-
in the 90s.
Yes, and the opening.
The
we didn't even
opening.
talk about that.
Yeah, the opening.
That caught me a little off guard.
So,
I was like,
Yeah,
ooh.
the opening
the cameo was my son's favorite part of the movie because
Stan Lee cameo was really good
after that movie. So
your son's name is Mallrats?
No, my son's name is Brody.
The Stan Lee cameo was really good. Someone asked, so I have an answer to this question. Someone asked, Stan Lee is Stan Lee in Mallrats. He's Stan Lee, the creator of Spider-Man and the Fantastic Four and Mallrats. He was at this thing. How can Stan Lee be in this if Stan... Guys...
He's the fucking Watcher.
It's not just that.
He's reading the script. He's rehearsing to be in Mallrats.
Well, yes, we know. Oh. No, what I'm saying is, how is Stan Lee a famous person in this world if the comic book characters are real and they're not comic book characters? Well, they publish Marvel Comics in Marvel Comics universe based on the comic book character. So it's just Stan Lee. He's still the guy. He's still going to be publishing comics based on these characters at this company. He probably already is making comic books in this world, and just later they will make comic books based on the Avengers because they have the doll. He probably wrote Captain America comics back in the 40s based on the real Captain America.
Captain America comics in the Captain America movie.
They have all the merch, right? So
okay, but wait, now explain who are the other Stan Lee cameos? Because if he's Stan Lee, reading the Mallrats script, then the other guys who we have seen in other Marvel movies who look like him are who?
Clones, doppelgangers.
Well, no,
Watchers. Well, yes. Obviously, Stan Lee being a Watcher or something like that, or Stan Lee can be Eternity or something like that, right?
Well, I mean they already showed him conversing with the Watchers, in Guardians 2. So,
but the whole. In Marvel Comics exists and publishes comic books based on the characters.
But how much fun is it, the idea of Stan Lee being a Watcher, being able to view all, to be able to tell these stories before they happen?
Yep.
Well, the opening was my favorite part of the movie.
Oh, the Stan Lee thing?
Stan Lee.
That was really good.
Because that was the thing that, I mean, the Skrulls being good guys, cool. You know, Marvel being the... Annette Bening, okay. Not so cool, but okay. But the Stan thing was the one thing in this whole movie that really caught me off guard. With a whoa.
Yeah. Colin said, I really love the movie. Was expecting the Skrulls to betray Carol at the end, but really glad and surprised that they played it straight. Ben Mendelsohn was great as Talos, and I hope we see him again. I looked this guy up. I don't know that I know him from anywhere, but that voice is so familiar.
Well, he was in Rogue One.
Yeah, but that voice, I know that voice from somewhere. And I looked at his filmography and nothing jumped out. Am I missing something?
For who?
The guy that was Telos, the main Skrull guy. That voice is so familiar. Maybe it's just a cool voice. I don't know. But I feel like I've seen him in something.
He's voiced something. I just can't think of what it is. Yeah. If only we had the internet at
I looked it up and nothing jumped out at me. But he was great. I liked him. He was funny.
Ben Mendelsohn has kind of found himself a nice little career of being like
he's in a shitload of stuff.
Evil middle management.
Yeah. From
you know what you'd be perfect to play? Evil middle management.
Yeah, like I'm going to be the Death Star curator. I'm going to be like the Skrull ambassador.
Lewis says, if any Silver Age Marvel readers showed up for the podcast, we'll talk to Kevin here. Does prior knowledge of Jan Rog or Dr. Lost spoil the fun? This is the first time I felt like it did for me. So knowing who these characters are kind of spoiled it for him. Did it spoil it for you at all? Or because when you see Jude Law in the movie, you're like, well, he's the bad guy. I mean, it's just...
I actually didn't assume that from the beginning.
Yeah.
Well, I mean, knowing it was Jan Rog didn't spoil it for me because it wasn't a Marvel story. If it had been that, then I would have gone, oh, okay, it's the guy who they have the who was the other character he said?
Was it the doctor? Dr. Lawson.
He was a voice for Axe Cop.
I never saw Axe Cop.
To answer his question, I wouldn't say spoiled, but having that knowledge definitely kind of skewed your perceptions.
Yeah. Great tweet from D. Baroldi. Highly underrated aspect of Captain Marvel was someone finally using those weird cylindrical restraints that only show up in comic books, that is actually really funny. When she's captured by the Skrull, she's got those things on her arms. They use those in comics all the time. It's just like power dampening or whatever, and they actually like it's a big part of that scene was her trying to get those stupid things off. That was really funny. That's a good line. That's all our questions for Captain Marvel. I had some other questions here, but we'll just stick to Captain Marvel this week.
Be sure to email your thoughts on Captain Marvel, and we'll get to them around the sequel.
The third sequel.
Overall, people I've talked to, I haven't heard from anyone that's actually seen the movie. That's not a flaming scumbag. That actually really,
including at this table,
kind of disliked it. I mean, most people have seemed to like.
Did you light them on fire?
And I'm very happy, and I'm glad this movie is doing well. It's I've obviously I loved Infinity War, but I was hoping that there have been a couple missteps. I had like kind of 3 movies in a row from Marvel, like 3 out of 4 in a row that I was a little like I didn't like as much as everyone else, and I was kind of feeling a little with Ragnarok and Guardians 2 and Black Panther. I liked them in some fashion.
So
but
you hated Black
Can
Panther,
you just
right?
stop
Yes,
talking
yes.
about those 2 movies? Just don't bring them up anymore. Please.
I wanted to
Which
like
2?
them more, and
Black
I'm very
Panther. Wait, what's the other one?
Ragnarok.
Oh,
yeah. So, but Ant-Man and Wasp I actually liked more the second time I saw it. I loved Infinity War. It's my favorite movie last year, and I'm very very happy for Captain Marvel. So 3 for 3. 3 for 6 of the last 6 Marvel movies. I'm more positive on than the others. So that's good, and very excited for Endgame and Spider-Man and I do want to make a correction. Someone was talking about last week. We were saying that we weren't sure when Endgame or when Far From Home was supposed to take place, and I mean they've confirmed that it's post Endgame. It's not like a flashback or anything weird. So I've really shut down.
But there's a time stone. He could have never left.
Sure.
So it could be that he never left the bus.
He's
going on his school trip and he never left the bus.
I get the feeling there will be a lot of time shenanigans in Endgame. It's pretty likely. So
I just can't wait to get Ant-Man back.
For anyone that expects the Endgame to end with half of the universe still being dead and all their characters dead, I won't tell you how these things work. It's unlikely. So it's Captain Marvel. Any last thoughts?
Go see it. It's good.
I think people did.
yeah, right.
I don't think you have to tell people. They did see it.
Go see it again.
Yeah, I wonder. Maybe I'll try to see if I can see it a second time. I wanted to see.
Wow.
I thought you have to
Apparently
do a Marvel
Ryan's
rewatch
listening to you.
project.
Yeah.
You need to get on that.
You didn't do an outro.
We're still recording.
Oh. I was like,
All right, time to back up. We're going. Let's go. Yeah, no, I do want to. I actually started to go through my stuff the other day. I realized I don't have Iron Man 3 yet.
I haven't bought it either.
I have it.
Purchased it eventually, but I bought it.
I
when
bought
they
it for
put-
you at a Black Friday thingy.
No. I bought Iron
Oh,
Man.
maybe you bought it for me, but somehow we bought it at a Black
They
Friday
have a
thing.
shitty-
No, the way I ended up
Yes,
buying it.
Iron Man 3 was a Black Friday thing.
If you bought it for Black Friday, that's on you. I
Maybe
remember
you bought
I had
it for
to.
me on a Black Friday.
No,
Toby, if you have 2, I'll
I
take one.
specifically remember that I bought Iron Man 3 even after I already owned 1 and 2 in a 3-pack because the 3-pack was cheaper
Yeah,
than buying Iron Man 3 by itself.
I swear to God, somehow I got Iron Man 3 on a Black Friday and you helped me somehow. Maybe you found it.
The DVD
find a lot.
Blu-ray that's got like the gold kind of border and everything like that is like goes for like $50 now. It's like out of print.
Yeah.
There's some like shitty new Blu-ray with like a terrible cover.
I
And
hate all of those. I regret so much now that I do not have all of them
the
right now.
new.
This stupid character and then the shitty background thing.
Yeah.
Yeah, I hate them all.
Yeah.
I'm like backtracking, going to Rasputin, trying
So
to like
I-
hunt
I'm
down
actually
the
like
covers.
I'm like. Am I going to pay $45 for Iron Man 3? Oh my God.
Kevin will rub it in for the rest of your life.
Like I can't do that. I can't, but I don't want the version.
I think it's been on my Blu-ray wish list on Amazon forever.
Like you don't know how bad the new cover art is.
It is really bad.
Like I don't want to
I'm
own it.
really fucked because Winter Soldier I never picked up. And
Like I have
that's
all
long
of them. I
gone.
think Iron Man 3
Yeah,
is
you.
the
I say
only
me,
one.
motherfucker.
I don't own Iron Man 3 or Thor.
Yeah.
3.
I'm pretty sure I have the original release of all of them except for Iron Man 3. So go look at your Iron Man 3 Blu-rays. If you have 2 copies, I'll take one from you.
Now wait, is this did we settle this?
Actually,
did you get it at Black Friday? The audience needs to know.
I definitely got it on Black Friday.
Charlie, if you have a spare copy, I'll take yours. How about that?
No, I
If you
only
both
had
have a
one.
spare copy, I'll take one.
I started organizing my Blu-rays. I made it to H. I'm at 121 movies.
Nice.
Ryan, as an outro question for you, I've asked you this before, but I want to see if your answer has changed or if you're holding steady.
Okay.
You can see one of these 2 movies in a theater. The other one you have to wait till it's at home.
Okay.
Episode 9 or Endgame.
Oh, Endgame in the theater.
Did I?
You've given me an answer on this. I want to see what your answer is today.
Oh, Endgame in the theater. Release day? Absolutely. What did I say before?
You said that before.
Yeah. I mean, I love Star Wars.
Yeah,
And
but I like Marvel way more.
this is-
Not that
yeah.
you asked me.
This
but
is
I'm
wait,
telling
yeah.
you anyways.
I probably said the same thing. Like, episode 9 is part 3. Endgame is part 22 or whatever, right? I mean, it is sort of like it is a different thing. It's a bit of a bigger deal for me, obviously. And I'm sure my answer would have been a little harder pre-episode 8 to come up with an answer, but
Yeah, I was going to say.
now it's like
that-
not even.
that-
No,
a question.
I introduced the question after Infinity War in Episode 8.
Okay.
That was the idea. Like, you've seen the lead up.
Yeah,
Now, which one would you, you
Okay,
have
I know.
to pay
I feel
off?
like yeah. I remember you asking me
Yeah.
that. I remember.
It's pushing $60.
Gosh, fucking yeah.
Which one?
That
one?
cover, like,
Oh, because it's got an extra disc in it.
No,
is that the 2 or 3 disc?
That's the Blu-ray, DVD, and digital
So,
copy.
for the listeners,
Oh, I don't-
Brock is looking at the Amazon ordering
Is that the
page.
3D version?
Yeah, I think it
No,
also.
I
has a
don't
3D.
give a fuck about the 3D version.
I got the
now.
normal one.
Yeah, just look at the normal version. But like, go look at the shitty new cover of Iron Man 3. Man,
But
how
that's a
bad
shitty
that
cover
movie
too,
is.
though. That's a shitty cover too, though.
Better than the.
Isn't this its own sponsored segment, Charlie's Deals? Charlie's
Do you
Deals
actually,
page.
I mean, you're gonna put it on the bookshelf. When are you gonna look at the cover? Unlike me, who actually cares about the covers. Since when do you care about the cover?
Oh, I don't fucking give a shit. I'll buy this one.
No, it's awful.
I'll buy
you-
$25. No, I'm not paying
No, it's
$25
fucking
for
terrible.
it.
It's also $25, and it's a terrible cover. I'd rather pay $50 for the better cover at this point.
No, don't do it. Don't do it.
Because I hate that
Don't
cover
do it.
so
It's
much.
so
That-
bad.
I do hate the covers. too.
You can get the
It's so
you can get the
bad.
Blu-ray DVD combo, which is this one for $45.
Yeah, that's what I was looking at. Yeah, that's the perfect cover. I mean, it's
See,
the
I was
better
totally
cover.
going to join your silly Mickey Mouse Club, and then I realized all the new covers
It's
are on
yep,
that one.
I already
was
looked.
like,
I
I'm
already
so
looked.
fucked.
I already looked.
Rasputin it is.
Yep. Julian Titus has a
Some
Nerds
Nerds
Without
Without
Pants
Pants
podcast, which is at pixelbit.com.
Are we already at the outro?
Not only
What do you mean already?
does Julian Titus have Nerds Without Pants at pixelbit.com, pixelbit.com and Julian Titus on Nerds Without Pants every month is giving away a full price
Pants?
video game. No, not pants. A video game.
Like a actual like.
Contest for March is either a choice of Devil May Cry 5 or Sekiro: Shadows Die Twice.
Ooh.
I know
So-
neither of those.
So those are the 2 games. So
Oh,
if you
Mega
listen to
Man
Nerds Without
6.
Pants,
So I get Thor
you
for
may
for
win a
$20.
video game. How
I'm
fucking
kidding
awesome
about
is
Mega
that?
Man 6.
Jody Lawson is canon the Triad Comics anthology at triadcomicstudios.com.
Charlie is researching the Blu-rays right now and going, if I sell my copies and replace them with new copies, I could get so many more copies.
No, honestly, I'm half thinking that like they just put out the first Captain America in 4K, and they put out Avengers 1 and 2 in 4K.
Oh, you're going even
If you
further.
just wait a
One.
little while, I'm sure they will put out the Iron Mans in 4K cheaper than and with better covers than you're seeing
You're
on
going
those.
further, more pixels, and more coverage than...
Well, because I guarantee you when they do the 4K, it will be the like 4K Blu-ray digital pack.
Oh, good thinking. Sam Che, Craig Anderson at CraigPAnderson.com. If you need a life coach, if you want to become a better professional, go to CraigPAnderson.com and he will help you. Joe Duff, Andrew Nelson Mendez at Recovery of an Anime Junkie podcast, Page Turners, a comic book podcast at pageturnerspodcast.libsyn.com, and Tyler Willits at Thursday Thunderdome. Contrary to popular belief, contrary to popular request, Thursday Thunderdome is not about me and Bryce having an oil wrestling contest. Okay?
Ooh.
That's
Oh,
what,
wait, is that an option?
That's what Bryce.
Can we have that?
That's
we
what
have that as a
Bryce
Patreon tier?
promised last week, and that is not true.
Can we have a
unfortunately.
Patreon tier for that?
Thursday T-Dome on Twitter and ThursdayThunderdome.com, of course, is your is your place to go for
What
for
oil
the
would you
podcast.
guys wrestle in?
I don't know anything about oils, so I would not know. Comic Conspiracy Podcast, geekbox.net, and
Right.
iTunes is where you
It's
can
gonna
find
be
our
slippery.
previous episodes. Rate and review us. We're
Very
told that when
slippery.
you rate and review us on iTunes, it helps people find this podcast. I have no idea if it's true, but that's what people say, so I'm saying it. YouTube.com/comicsconspiracy if you're on the
Slash
YouTube.
slippery.
If you're on the YouTube, you're not watching videos
Slip.
about that are making you into Nazis.
Okay, hold on. The rate and review
It's
stuff
hashtag
works
slippery.
Oh,
That
hashtag
works.
slippery.
because how else would these algorithms pick up all this hate shit and throw
Right,
it?
exactly.
So stop looking at the hate shit and listen to us, and then you'll get better content.
Go to youtube.com/comicsconspiracy and smash that like button. Smash
it.
that subscribe button.
Slip on it.
The Comicsconspiracy at geekbox.net. Yes, email us your long form questions about Captain Marvel.
I
and we'll
never get
answer
read.
it when the second movie comes out.
Because he slips on it all the time.
Patreon.
I think
Do you miss Kevin?
I think he's imagining
this and
you all
Bryce. You just
slippery.
miss it. Or Patreon.com/comiconspiracy is where you can go to kick us $1 or $3 or $5 or more, and
Slip us
we'll
some dollars.
and we'll
you have to give it to him. It was a good one.
pimp your stuff.
It slid right in there.
Did you just say pip your stuff?
Digital.comics. Like what? Digital.comicsconspiracy.biz. Go there, pick up some digital comics from us. You can read them on your phone, your tablets, all through Comixology.
Are they still having a Captain Marvel sale right now?
Probably. Yeah, I'm sure it's still going on. Comicsconspiracy.biz. That's our store website. You can go and purchase some physical comics from us on there. We'll ship them out. Do lots of mail order. If they go on there.
Mail order.
Conspirator.
I like it.
Like what? Conspirator. Go, Toby. Don't you have floors to lay on? ConspiratorBrock.com is Brock's blog, video post, and
I'm
unboxing
still on this
videos.
oil wrestling match between you and Bryce.
Would you
I'll have some
contribute
I would.
to the
I
Patreon?
will pay for it. I'll organize it.
Wanderers in the
Pay-per-view
Fourth-
TV. We don't need no Patreon. We start
Wanderers.
this. We got the Higgins on one side.
Now, wait,
We got
but-
the Hogan. Oh wait, no, the Bryce
How
on the
are
other
you-
side.
Are you picturing this like they're in like sumo wrestler?
No, skivvies, right? Dog style. Thunderdome. Mud all over the floor. Oil everywhere. For some reason, there's 4x4 trucks running around on top of this dome, and then they have to fight to the
And
death.
then you got to take some line action on. I don't know. This is the Bryce who vanquished Greg Capullo, right? So I don't know.
Well, this has not
This is,
happened
yeah,
yet in
heavy
this part of the
Oh
history.
dear God! Oh dear God!
By the way,
Why do I get the distinct feeling our artistic
Kevin.
listeners are going to start drawing shit?
we have to announce this. Kevin will be at WonderCon. I will. He probably didn't want the world to know that. I'm
Oh
sorry.
no!
I just
I was wondering what the big announcement was. It's just that.
well, that and I will be there, and Greg Capullo is gonna be
Oh,
there.
that's true. Yeah.
I think this is the start of something, Bryce. Just letting you know. Before you do the oil wrestling match of Ryan, there's an arm
You're
wrestling
speaking
match.
to Bryce as if he's going to hear this.
Oh, he will.
For people that are just joining us in this podcast.
Yes.
It's a throwback to last week. So, Wanderers in the Fourth Dimension podcast, Charlie's Doctor Who podcast. Please go listen to that. Etsy.com/shop/LeanneHillArt. If you would like to buy a new Captain Marvel print by Leanne, go on Etsy.com/shop/LeanneHillArt or come down to the store. We have
I
it here
already
as well.
bought it. It was good.
If you're on Twitter, Ryan Higgins Ryan, that is myself. Brock is Brock Sager. Toby is Toby XI. Charlie's Insanity and Chaos.
Oil wrestling match.
Kevin Sharp is that Kevin Sharp. The store is ComicsCon Store. Please go follow us on Twitter. Geekbox, Comedy Button, Manga Machinations, and Infinite Binge over on YouTube. You can check those guys out. Some other stuff that our friends do. It's always helpful when you guys like their stuff as well. So thank you all for listening, and we'll be back next week.